Sid and Friends in the morning. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
In the case of Sid, Sid is an entertainer first and foremost, but he's developed such a massive audience that he's been able to become this political power broker, the likes of which I don't think anyone ever anticipated. And because there's not really a morning show, at least on AM, that has his kind of listenership and his kind of depth, he has the kind of influence politically that I don't even know if Bob Grant had.
You have seen this very discreet, extremely well-funded campaign to try to derail the negotiation and try to derail the deal. And, there's this Time article that came out yesterday. A friend sent it to me. It's like worth reading because it lists a bunch of people who have quite literally been paid by a former Trump campaign person who was himself paid by certain elements within the Israeli government. And those people are attacking me viciously for quite literally trying to accomplish the negotiation objective that the president set for the country. So
what is their position? Like, are they attacking you how?
Oh, it's social media posts. It's, they're leaking to reporters. They're attacking me obsessively, saying that we should not be negotiating with Iran. We should just keep the military campaign going indefinitely.
Not true.
And that is their explicit position. And coming after me saying that, people have come after me and say that I'm influenced by Qatar, that I'm influenced by foreign governments, that, I take my marching orders from Tucker Carlson.
You do.
There's just so much bullshit out there when what I'm actually trying to do is accomplish what the President of the United States told me to accomplish, which is a settlement of this that accomplishes our objectives. Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon. We have the free flow of oil and gas. And like, I should be clear, I don't actually mind. I don't mind that let's say certain elements of the Israeli government want to criticize the deal or have disagreements about the deal. I don't even mind an effort to try to influence. Foreign governments try to influence the United States all the time. Israel does it. Other countries do it. It's just sort of the nature of the beast. What bothers me is actually when Americans meaning American leadership, allows that influence to affect their judgment and to affect what they are advocating for. That's what really bothers me. People are always going to try to influence the United States of America, whether they're allies of ours or whether they're enemies of ours. But again, when I open up the pages of Time magazine and I see that there's a literal foreign influence campaign being funded to tank the very deal that I was pursuing, and oh, by the way, many of the people who were receiving that money were actually attacking me in completely dishonest ways, my response to that is, well, go to hell. I'm going to do what I have to do for the American people. I represent Americans first.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, most people think he was Mossad.
Yeah, Mossad or CIA or some other deep state, whether in America or Israel or another country, or both. Look, he clearly had connections to the highest levels of American intelligence. He clearly had connections to the highest levels of Israeli intelligence. In fact, one of the interesting things the Epstein saga reveals about, and I try to make this point, is one of the reasons why I'm always careful. And I say there are some elements within the Israeli government who don't like our peace process, because there are a lot of elements within the Israeli government that actually do like our peace process. They recognize that this indefinite campaign is not good for them either. And the Epstein thing is interesting because as much as I know, Prime Minister Netanyahu, not a particularly popular person in the United States of America right now, Epstein seemed to be connected to the elements of the Israeli deep state that were left of center. Like, I've always found that fascinating. It wasn't like he was super connected to the right of center of Israeli politics. America, he was connected across the board.
Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche faced tough questions from some members of the Senate Judiciary Committee in his bid to lead the Justice Department in a permanent capacity. Natalie Brand is on Capitol Hill with details of his confirmation hearing.
Do you swear or affirm?
Testifying before the Senate Judiciary Committee Wednesday, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche made the case why he should be confirmed to the post.
We have the
lowest murder rate since 1900. Violent crime arrests are up nearly 114%.
Blanche is a former federal prosecutor and President Trump's former personal attorney. Senators pressed him on his independence from the White House.
Has he ever asked you to do anything illegal?
No.
Would you do it if he asked you?
Absolutely not.
Lawmakers from both parties also grilled Blanche on a shelved proposal for a $1.8 billion fund for people who believe they were unfairly prosecuted by previous administrations.
The Web Position Fund is dead. It's not moving forward.
But Senator John Cornyn of Texas, a Republican whose vote will be key to Blanche's confirmation, still had questions.
The President of the United States, who is a plaintiff in this lawsuit, has not agreed in writing to delete the weaponization fund, and there's no guarantee that he or one of the other plaintiffs might raise that issue by way of a lawsuit.
Blanche also apologized for mistakes the Justice Department made publishing personal information about Jeffrey Epstein's victims with the document release.
I am sorry that in about 1% of the documents, mistakes were made.
With some Epstein survivors at the hearing, lawmakers pressed him to meet with them and release the remaining files. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
A confirmation hearing for the Director of National Intelligence. That role is it's also happening on Capitol Hill. Jay Clayton is testifying before lawmakers. The opening came after Tulsi Gabbard resigned due to her husband's cancer diagnosis. Here's some of what we've heard.
So if you're going to follow official purposes, you cannot declassify information for political purposes. Will you promise that you will not do that?
Senator, I promise that my declassification exercises will be consistent with the role, and I believe that there are a number of protections in place across the intelligence community to ensure that intelligence is not used for political purposes. And I intend to adhere to those.
CBS News congressional reporter Torian Small is following this on Capitol Hill for us today. Torian, what else have you heard?
Yeah, Mugo, that hearing just breaking. Quite the chaotic scene behind me. In fact, one protester of that hearing came out, was just arrested by police and escorted out. As we see senators being evacuated behind me because of this brief recess, I got to point out the fact that the through line in Clayton's testimony has been trust. He wanted to instill confidence that under his leadership, the intel community won't be weaponized, which was a cause for concern for quite a few Democrats on this panel. But again, how do we get here? Clayton was set to sit before this same panel about a month ago before President Trump ultimately decided to postpone it. The reason why is because at the same time, his interim replacement for Tulsi Gabbard, his predecessor, was Bill Pulte, who had no experience in the intel community. Senate Republicans and Democrats thought up a plan that would expedite Clayton's confirmation. The president instead asked for the SAVE Act to be passed out of Congress first. And then he also said he wanted Clayton's replacement to his current role to also be confirmed concurrently. So this is where we are today. Senator Cotton addressed that, or made mention to that, the fact that this is delayed, but ultimately, though, we're still waiting to see if he has the votes, at least from Republicans, for his confirmation. There hasn't been any major pushback from Republicans on this panel so far, but we'll still see if there are any stalwarts when it comes to the full floor for a vote.
The debate over carriage rides in New York is intensifying yet again. After today's hearing on the future of the industry, the city council is poised to consider banning the century-old tradition. Allie Bauman has the latest from City Hall.
Hour after hour, New Yorkers testified in City Hall Wednesday about the future of New York's horse carriage industry.
These animals are not ours. They are not put on this planet to do our bidding.
We are the definition of a lawful regulated business. The Council Health Committee holding this public hearing on Romanche's Law, legislation that would ban horse carriage rides in New York.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't want to give away my horses. I don't want to sell my horses. This is my entire life.
When you combine a public space teeming with tens of millions of people and animals that weigh more than 1,000 pounds and possess an instinct to flee, accidents and collisions become inevitable.
The bill is named for Romanche Mahajong, the 18-year-old tourist killed last month while taking a carriage ride with his family. Addressing the council virtually, his parents described the moments the horse took off without a driver and toppled them.
We could do nothing but hold on to each other and scream. My wife fell. Romanch tried to help his mother, and he too fell. He never moved again. I kept shouting his name, but he did not move.
Remember the life he lived and the love he gave to everyone around him. And make sure he's the last person to suffer from this industry.
Carriage drivers argue that if this bill passes, they will lose jobs that they've dedicated years to. This legislation also includes help for drivers to transition to careers in hospitality and tourism.
I don't want to work in the hospitality industry. I don't want someone to assign me a job. I chose this job.
The council is expected to vote on the bill next month.
So did you think your career was over after that?
I remember waking up the next morning going, I'm 33 years old, and I can't believe it's over. And I didn't listen to Imus, to be honest with you. I listened to you.
Right.
You know,
well, so does Imus.
Of course.
Yeah.
But in the 70s, when I was a kid going to school, my dad would listen to Imus, you know,
right.
Before you were a monster star. And so I thought I knew a little bit about the show. So I figured when I got there, it was just total zany. No idea that he was trying to become a different type of guy.
Well, here you are, a sports expert, and I can see you got the gift of gab and everything. But sometimes, like, maybe you got to rein it in just a little bit.
Argentina's bench is furious. Last chance for England. Here we go. Pickford into the box. Martinez tracking. Can't get it cleanly. It's not free. The whistle goes. It's a handball. It's a free kick for Argentina. But once this is in play, it'll count as a game-winning goal. In the semifinal, indeed it is. Argentina do it again. And they set it A with Spain. Sunday in New Jersey.
3 hours with Joe Rogan. What in God's name can the vice president and Joe Rogan talk about for 3 hours? And why did the vice president even have 3 hours? Go do something important. I don't know. Go do a deal somewhere. Or go, the farm or something with Brooke Rollins and get something done. I don't know. So we got that. We got Iran. We've got Howard Stern talking to me because Kirsten Fleming in today's New York Post said, you know what, Stern? You like that old, aged boxer. Remember Muhammad Ali at the end? He couldn't beat Leon Spinks. It got embarrassing. Tyson, just quit. You've made all the money in the world. At this point, you're nothing. Now, he's still making a pretty good living, but he's 72 years old. So Fleming's point in today's New York Post was, hey, Howard, it's over. Call it quits. And you've got these confirmation hearings with Todd Blanche and our friend Jay Clayton. But Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones made sense, and that's why Lou Rufino's a genius, because the last thing you heard in the open was Argentina. Don't cry for me, Argentina. You don't have to, because they came back from a 1-0 deficit against England. They scored 2 unanswered goals and won. And for the second straight year, the defending champs, I should say the second straight cup, the defending champs, Argentina, are on their way back to the finals. They'll take on Spain on Sunday in New Jersey. But Mick Jagger was at all these games. Big England guy, obviously. Big soccer fan. And he was there. And, Mick made the news last week. I know, Noam and Lou, you both know this. Because he went out and he publicly criticized asshole Bruce Springsteen when he said, basically, hey, Bruce, just shut up and play. Mick Jagger, Rolling Stones, has had enough of Bruce Springsteen and all these guys. Somebody said here in New York, I forget who it was, Jagger plays music, Springsteen lectures you. And that's true. So Mick Jagger, very, very critical of Bruce Springsteen. Shut up, Bruce. Just play Thunder Road. Just play Born to Run. Give me a little 10th Avenue breeze out. Tell you what, even give me Brilliant Disguise. But just shut up. Jagger even said it. But I guess, according to you, Lewis, Jagger went to a bunch of these soccer games, yes?
I think after Argentina's second goal, they showed him looking quite
sad,
disturbed and miserable.
Yeah. Well, you don't know this, but my daughter Ava, who of course went to college in the UK, she went to school in Wales, not England, not London, in Wales, but you can take a train from Heathrow Airport in London and get to Cardiff, where Ava went to college in Wales, in 90 minutes. That's how close those countries are. So she has a lot of friends, Ava, that live in London that are English. And one of these girls, that's a friend of my daughter, her name is Emily. She's been staying at my house for the whole week. And my daughter and her go out and they buy these outfits, these little shorts, which makes me crazy, for Argentina, for England. And this girl, Emily, lives in London. So she's been here these last couple of games, and Ava finds these bars in the city that cater to certain European countries. So they went yesterday to watch the Argentina-England game. Emily was all dolled up in her England shorts and T-shirt. And much like Mick Jagger, when she got back to her house last night, Lewis, she also had a look like somebody died.
Angry.
No, more sad than angry. She was sad because they're done. Good run, good soccer team, obviously, football, excuse me. But they're done. So, yeah, Mick Jagger was upset. Emily, at my house, very upset. But I wasn't, because I am like Bibi Netanyahu, my friend Bibi. I have been outwardly rooting for Argentina. And Noam, I'll give you one guess as to why that's the case.
Because you're a big Messi fan.
Big Messi fan. Is that really your answer?
Mm-hmm.
That's not a bad answer. Probably the best player ever. Some still say Pele, but that's not the correct answer. Lewis, you want to give it a try? Why have I become this huge Argentina fan?
Those colors are right in line with the favorites of yours, the blue and white.
Okay.
I know you like that. You wear those that underwear that's blue and white.
I do that?
Yeah.
I'm wearing blue and cream right now. Both very good answers, both incorrect.
How about you love the tango? I know that's big in Argentina.
I love the tango, that's true. Yeah. No, incorrect. The people in Argentina are beautiful. All these countries, my wife is a very dark-skinned, sultry, beautiful lady. Those are the women I find more attractive. I'm not into the blonde shiksa type like Norway. Give me Brazil, give me, excuse me, give me Brazil, give me Morocco, give me Argentina, give me Israel. Those are the prettiest women in the world. But anyway, no, the reason why is go back to the last game Argentina won, not yesterday, but before they beat England, gentlemen, who did Argentina beat?
Egypt.
Very good. And what was hanging in the stands that eventually led to a dust-up on the field with the coaches from Egypt and the Argentinian fans?
That would be an Israeli flag.
Ah, yes. Argentina is a very pro-Israel country, and their fans. So in a tournament, in a world where everybody, including the vice president, despite trying to come off like he's not, I don't buy any of J.D. Vance's nonsense. In a world where everybody loves hating on Israel, Argentina publicly doesn't. You know that, Noam, right?
Yeah.
So they were my easy choice. And Spain is one of the most anti-American. Let's start there. Look at all the issues with Spain when President Trump just asked Spain to use their base so we can land and refuel in our efforts to take out Iran, and Spain said no. So let's put Israel aside for a second. Let's go with America, because J.D. Vance is America first. All you anti-Israel people, you claim it's because you're America first. Okay, give me a break. You think I'm stupid? Well, fine. So America first, Spain just screwed America in this fight against Iran. And on top of that, Spain and France, who they just beat, are both very anti-Semitic countries. You know that, right, no?
That they are.
I couldn't root for either one of those teams. So the finals has Argentina with the greatest player ever, Lionel Messi, and a country that loves Israel and is not afraid to say it, taking on anti-America, anti-Israel Spain. So what do you think I'm rooting for?
I would guess Argentina.
Yeah, you'd be right. Now, they're not going to win Argentina because Spain is too good. And now I become like the Chris Mortensen of soccer. Or maybe John Madden, even a better example. Tony Romo, Tom Brady. I can break it down like nobody. And the truth is, Spain is just so good defensively, they completely shut down Mbappe. They will do the same thing, in my opinion, with Messi. I don't even think Argentina will score, and I think Spain will win on Sunday. But I will be rooting enthusiastically for the beautiful country of Argentina. How about you, Noam?
Yeah, I'll be rooting for Argentina.
But why?
As
For
well.
the same reason, or because?
Lou said, I like the colors.
You like the colors.
Yeah.
That's nice. Lou, are you rooting for anybody? Do you care?
Argentina.
You are too?
For sure. Oh, for sure.
And why is that?
Yeah. Well, I've said it a couple of rounds ago that, that's a good enough reason. Spain has not exactly been friendly and accommodating to the United States, and not letting us fly over their area and not being of any assistance. So, and I do like Argentina. I mean, I've liked Messi for a long time, and I think they're going to win.
You think Argentina's going to win?
Oh, yeah, I think they're going to win.
Oh, God, I hope you're right. I don't, but I hope you're right. That's the beauty of the game. But we all make predictions, and then the game happens.
Did you see all the fights that took place after that game yesterday?
Oh, my God, there was so many fights.
We hadn't
seen it. It was
seen
like a Ranger Islander game in the blue seats.
But worse than that.
Well, soccer, people die at those stadiums.
Yeah.
But we really hadn't seen it. You're right.
No,
Yesterday was a mess.
It was. I mean, it took them the police in Atlanta 3 hours to calm the crowd down.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't expect that in New Jersey on Sunday, do you?
No, I mean, the security is going to be so intense for the final. But, these fans, they're passionate. Way more passionate than we are.
I got people asking me yesterday, please get me tickets. Please get me tickets. First of all, I wouldn't even want to go. And we'll get Andrew Giuliani on this show tomorrow. Now, once you're in the stadium, I know it's going to be fantastic. Fantastic. But the thought of getting there and getting through all these psychotic, un-American people just to get inside Giant Stadium sounds so unattractive to me.
Oh, my God.
Oh.
No, that would be the last place I'd want to
Me
be.
too.
Sunday.
I'll be very happy 3 o'clock on Sunday, sitting on my couch in Bell Harbor, Queens, watching Argentina versus Spain. Because what you also never think about is, A, getting in, and then B, getting home.
Oh, getting home.
Right, it turns into like a 7-8 hour day.
It's worse
for
getting home.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah, for what? So I wouldn't even want to go. But I got people like, I got to go. Please, can you get me tickets? And Andrew Giuliani. And so what? What are you, nuts? Now, if you're from Argentina, you don't live here, you're in the United States, you've been here for the whole tournament, of course you want to go. Of course. Same thing with Spain. When you live in Brooklyn or Manhattan or Queens or the Bronx, the hell you doing there? Why would you want to go there? Unless you're from, have Argentinian descent or Spanish. I just don't get it, no. Do you?
No, I don't get it either.
Yeah. The last place you want to be.
It's not for us, man. It's just
No.
not. It would be, or maybe, I don't even know if this is an equivalent, but for a Jet fan, you've got to be at the Super Bowl.
Well,
when
especially
they
a
get
Jet
there.
fan.
When
They haven't
get
gone
there,
since 1969.
no,
right.
You've got to be. You've been suffering.
Although I got to tell you, Lewis, I covered 18 Super Bowls. You know how many games I went to? 2.
What did you leave?
Yeah.
And leave the area?
I stayed there for the week because that's what sports shows do. I was in sports. And you go there for the week and you do your show from what they call Radio Row. So whatever city the Super Bowl is in, they have the big hotel with the big conference room, and they invite radio shows from all over the country, the biggest ones, and we're there all week, whether it's Mike and the Mad Dog or me or Jim Rome in those days or Dan Patrick, and you do your shows all week long. They've got live guests. It's great. And 16 of those 18 Super Bowls, once my show was over on Friday, I go home. Right. I went to 2. Rams and Titans, that amazing Super Bowl in 1999 in a freezing cold Atlanta, Georgia. I went to 3. I stand corrected. I also went in the year 2000 when I got the job at WNEW-FM in New York. Me and Craig Carton covered the Raven blowout win over the Giants. And I did go in 1990 when my Giants beat the Buffalo Bills in Tampa or Orlando. It was actually Orlando. I forget where it was. But so I've been to 3 games, 3 out of like 18 Super Bowls, because it's too much. Too many people, not fun. It's just a mess.
Well, you could have been there, of course, though, right? You could have gone into the game the next. When would you leave? Friday? Or?
I left Fridays.
Okay.
Yeah. Friday the show was over, let's say 10 o'clock in the morning. By 12, 1 o'clock, I was at the local airport.
Okay.
Going home. You know?
I don't blame you.
Yeah, no. I mean, the Giants played, like I said, I went to 2 Giants Super Bowls. But otherwise I went home.
Right.
The week was over. I did all my interviews, did my shows. They were great. Went to the parties.
You were done.
Done. See ya.
It's a letdown. I covered the 2001 when the Ravens destroyed the Giants, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it's a letdown.
It is.
The Super Bowl, because the parties and all the fun leading up to it are a great time.
Right. Now, see, if you're not in the business, you don't know that, but you're 100% right.
And then you get to the Super Bowl and you're like, this is boring.
Well, it's a game. Who cares?
I remember one party leading up to that Super Bowl, they giving out Xboxes to everybody who walked in the door.
Oh, I remember that too.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a big deal back
I came
then in
home with an
2000.
Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. And again, just to reiterate, that Super Bowl that I was at with Craig, and you were there too, Noam, 2000, when, as you said and I said, the Ravens blew out the Giants, that ended the 2000 season. And because, even though the Giants got blown out, because they made it to the Super Bowl, the NFL rewarded the Giants with the opening Monday night game the very next season. That happened to be Monday night, September the 10th, 2001, Giants and Broncos, the night before 9/11. How about that, Noam?
Yeah. Do you remember, tell me if I'm getting this right, that the halftime show that year
Britney Spears.
It was Britney Spears, Justin
baby.
Timberlake, and
Yep.
maybe was it Aerosmith too?
Aerosmith was doing Walk This Way.
Right.
And Britney came out in these little shorts and tube socks up to her knees with a little football jersey, and no one knew who she was. And like every 50, 60-year-old man across America was like masturbating. Literally. Like, oh my God, what is this? This is great. Didn't hear a word this young girl said. They were like, oh my God, I love this girl. That was the beginning of her stardom. The halftime show, Giants-Ravens. And it was Aerosmith, Walk This Way. They maybe even had, what's his name out there, from Run DMC, doing the song with them.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think he was. What's his name? The big
Jam Master J?
No, Reverend Run.
Reverend Run, okay.
Yeah.
Run.
So it was Aerosmith, Reverend Run, and here comes a very young and unknown at that point, Britney Spears. And I remember going back on the air that Monday and going, who the hell was that girl at halftime? Oh, my God. So you're right about that, no. All right, let's get to the serious stuff today. So I sent out a tweet last night. And I didn't need to see Joe Rogan to come to the conclusion that J.D. Vance is not a friend of Israel. And not that I judge everything on that. I know a lot of you think I do. You're wrong. That's fine. I don't care. Most of you people who say that are anti-Israel, anti-Semites anyway. So I don't care. But, I saw the Joe Rogan interview, and the Jeffrey Epstein stuff is what it is. But he talked about all this Israeli money and influence that is out there every day trying to derail what J.D. Vance is trying to accomplish. So I tweeted this on my account, at Sid Rosenberg19, at Sid Rosenberg19. I also put it on my Instagram page, at Rosenberg.Sydney, at Rosenberg.Sydney. My Facebook page, Sid Rosenberg, and Truth Social, Sid. And it went like this, no. I was the first to say it, and I have said it the most. No effing, and I spelled out the word. You know what word that is, no?
I think I can figure it out.
Yeah, no effing way do I want J.D. Vance as my party's nominee. For the 1,000th time, it has to be Marco Rubio, even Ted Cruz. And I didn't need the Joe Rogan audio to come to that conclusion. I've been saying it forever. Now, I don't like Rogan either. Rogan a lot of times sounds exactly like a list of other anti-Semite podcasters, people like Sean Ryan. The list goes on and on. And the Mossad allegations and the CIA allegations and the deep state allegations and the fact that the Jews are out there with this concerted effort to ruin J.D. Vance's effort to make sure the Iran war stops. I'm not buying a lot of that. What did you think, Noam?
Yeah, he starts to make these accusations of the vice president where he says there's a connection between Jeffrey Epstein and the Mossad. And if you just think about it for a moment, you go, well, why would the Mossad want to protect Jeffrey Epstein? It makes no sense.
Well, I'll tell you why. There is an element to that may make sense.
What's that?
I'll tell you why. Jeffrey Epstein's partner in crime is who? She's in prison right now.
Right.
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Right.
Okay. Do you know who Ghislaine Maxwell's father was?
Yeah, he was, the billionaire. What's his name?
Robert Maxwell.
There we go.
Okay. Do you have any idea where Robert Maxwell is buried?
Is he buried in Israel?
Mount of Olives.
Right. So
you know how hard it is to get into that cemetery?
Yeah, well,
that's the cemetery in Jerusalem that overlooks the Kotel.
Right.
So you got to have some really good friends. So if Ghislaine Maxwell's father, who had no right being buried in that cemetery, none is buried in the Israeli cemetery overlooking the Western Wall, then you can see why people would think, whoa. Ghislaine and Epstein, they're partners, and her father has these great relationships all over Israel. He's buried in a cemetery where, quite frankly, he had no right being buried there. So that's when it's not completely crazy.
Well, that's
because I
still
did my
crazy.
homework. I don't know if it's crazy.
Why would the Mossad has nothing to do with burial plots? That's like, they gave a lot of money to a local politician who found them a burial spot inside.
I don't know.
I mean, the Mossad is not dealing with stuff like that.
You sure about that?
Yeah, well, they're like the CIA.
Listen, I didn't buy it either. Joe Rogan starts with this. Most people think he was with the Mossad. No, Joe, you moron. Most people think he was a pedophile who had a lot of rich friends. Only the people that are really caught up in this, they're not the everyday people. 9 out of 10 people just want to get the job done, watch a baseball game, maybe get a BJ and go to bed. They're not caught up in the Jeffrey Epstein nonsense, okay? And he was a horrible person. So when Joe Rogan goes, most people thought he was Mossad. No, they didn't, Joe Rogan. Most people thought he was a sick, pervert pedophile with a bunch of rich friends. Is that not a fair assumption?
Yeah.
Right. So that's where Rogan comes off like these other guys. The Tucker Carlsons, the Sean Ryans, all these very popular podcasters who absolutely, at the very least, hit that third rail of anti-Semitism. Why would you say that? Now, if you said a lot of people in the know, that's one thing. But when you say most people, first of all, you sound dumb. And after that, the whole conversation goes down. And then Vance made the argument that, he actually said, J.D. Vance, Mossad and CIA. Both. Now, I talked to people in Israel, and I'm going to be honest with you, Noam, some of them don't want to touch it. And some of them say, well, it's not completely crazy. So I don't know what the truth is, but I can tell you this. It's uncomfortable to hear the Vice President of the United States talk about Israeli money that is out there every day trying to derail the United States' efforts. That's where I think J.D. Vance comes off, as he has many times in the past, like an anti-Semite. And yes, you do take your marching orders from Tucker Carlson, Mr. Vice President bitch. Yeah, you do. And why can't I say that? When the other guys say that Trump takes his marching orders from Bibi, which is really ridiculous, why is it so ridiculous to say that Vance takes his orders from Carlson when he employed Tucker Carlson's son for the longest time? And I've never once heard J.D. Vance come out like Trump has, and vilify Tucker Carlson. Have you?
No, and why would he? They're apparently close friends.
Right. So don't tell me that you get mad because people say I take my orders from Tucker. Well, why are you up Tucker's ass? You're the Vice President of the United States. He's a podcaster. He doesn't have any official position in the United States government. He may be incredibly popular, and he is. He got mad, too, J.D. Vance. Oh, Cutter. Well, you talk to any learned person, okay, who doesn't buy into this nonsense that exists all over the world these days, and they will tell you they believe that Tucker Carlson is bought and sold by the Arabs, specifically Cutter. So I don't know why J.D. Vance was all upset. Just come out and explain to us why it's not true, but he went on the offensive. And again, the way he highlighted Israel in this money scheme and derailing Iran doesn't work for me. So I can tell you this. I hate the Democrat Party. I hate their guts. I'm not afraid to say it. A lot of folks are like, well, I don't hate all of them. I hate them. I say it every day. This is no big shock. I hate them. So I can never imagine voting for a Democrat over J.D. Vance. So as much as I'm not a J.D. Vance fan, if it comes down to J.D. Vance or a Democrat, odds are, unless it's John Fetterman, I'm going to vote for Vance. But J.D. Vance is not even in my top 3 for who I hope wins the party's nomination. How about for you, Noam?
No.
Who do you got?
I mean, I would think it would be Marco Rubio. I mean, he seems like
he's
the guy
number one by a mile.
Yeah.
Right. I would even take Ted Cruz over J.D. Vance. I really would. Here is J.D. telling all these Israeli influencers and all the people like me that, telling us all to go to hell.
That wasn't pleasant.
I'm sorry.
You know,
I'm
there's
old.
a
Just
cough
leave me
button.
alone. I'm old. I'm old. Leave me alone. Okay? I'm moments from death. Moments. This is what you're worried about?
Well, no, there's that button right next to your
Fine.
microphone. It says cough button.
Wait a second.
And you could then burp and then go back on the air. Nobody would hear it.
If Chuck Schumer can rip a huge fart while he's talking about President Trump yesterday, why can't I burp?
You make an excellent point.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead.
Do you have the audio of that? Do you have the audio of the Chuck Schumer fart? Remember Bobby Thompson?
I do.
Bobby Thompson hit the shot that was heard around the world when he homered off Ralph Branca and the Brooklyn Dodgers as a member of the New York Giants. Remember that? Chuck Schumer's fart was heard around the world yesterday. The fart heard around the world.
Great comparison.
Thank you very much.
I don't know where that was coming.
So.
Wow.
Anyway, here is J.D. Vance, this dickhead, with Joe Rogan yesterday talking about you could all go to hell and on this Iran stuff. Cut number 1.
You have seen this very discreet, extremely well-funded campaign to try to derail the negotiation and try to derail the deal.
Right.
And, you know, there's this Time article that came out yesterday. A friend sent it to me. It's like worth reading because it lists a bunch of people who have quite literally been paid by a former Trump campaign person who was himself paid by certain elements within the Israeli government. And those people are attacking me viciously for quite literally trying to accomplish the negotiation objective that the president set for the country. So
what is their position? Like, are they attacking you how?
Oh, it's social media posts. It's, you know, they're leaking to reporters. They're attacking me obsessively, saying that we should not be negotiating with Iran. We should just keep the military campaign going indefinitely. And that is their explicit position. And coming after me saying that, you know, people have come after me and say that I'm influenced by Qatar, that I'm influenced by foreign governments, that, you know, I take my marching orders from Tucker Carlson. And there's just so much bullshit out there. When what I'm actually trying to do is accomplish what the president of the United States told me to.
Let me get to the president. He talked about Iran yesterday. God, I'm sick of J.D. Vance. I'm so sick of him. Here he talks about you can define what's going on in Iran any way you want. Some say we're winning. Some say we've already won. Some say we're losing. That's silly. That's silly. Some say we're stuck. That's the right answer. That's what I say. But either way, Trump says you can define it any way you want. The truth is we're beating them up. This is President Trump, cut number 3.
How would you describe what is happening at this moment? Has the war resumed?
Well, I guess you could define it any way you want, but certainly we're beating them up really badly. They have to be beat up. We're hitting them very, very hard. We're hitting every single thing that they have along the shore, along the the waterfront. You know, if you look at the Strait of Hormuz, it's now, we're finding it hard to find where they have anything. We have to stop it. We have to keep it open. I was going to charge a fee, but instead they'd rather spend a lot of money in the United States, which frankly is better because I don't like the idea of a fee. It's got to remain free because otherwise others will do the same thing. But I think we've made tremendous progress.
So then they asked Trump, they're like, yeah, but when are you going to stop hitting them? And Trump, it's a great answer. I do love you, President Trump. I look forward to seeing you on Saturday in New Jersey. Trump says it'll stop when, I don't know, when I want it to stop. President Trump, cut number 5.
Will these strikes continue?
They'll continue until I say it's enough. I mean, they'll continue. They've been, the word the military likes to use is degrade. They've been degraded to a very low level. And they have fight. You know, it's like a great boxer. You think you have him beat, and then all of a sudden he comes back and he gives you a shot. They have some fight left, but they don't have much. And their weapon degrading has been incredible at a level. Nobody thought it was possible to do it this quickly.
There is also some concern that our weapon supply is very, very low. I know no one reported on that. One more from President Trump. He says, listen, guys, it's in your best interest to make a deal before literally there's nobody left. President Trump, Lewis, cut number 6.
You've called the new leadership in Iran a changed regime. Do you still believe that?
Well, I knew the first group for a little while, and they were evil, and they're no longer with us. I knew the second group also a little bit better, and they were evil, and they're no longer with us. And the third group, they have some bad ones in there, some very bad ones in there.
Just
and I think they're the ones that are stopping a deal.
So are you negotiating with the wrong people?
Well, now I don't want to negotiate now. I said, let's not negotiate. 3 days ago, we had a deal.
When was the last time you spoke with an Iranian official?
Well, not me, but let's say my representatives. I have spoken to them. But my representatives over the course of, actually, an hour ago.
And what message was delivered?
They want to make a deal. But every time they make a deal, they break it. They don't want to die. People don't want to die. About an hour ago.
And what message was delivered?
You better make a deal. You're not going to have anybody left. We're being very careful with the civilian population, as you know. But I said, you better make a deal. You're not going to have anything left.
And you think they will?
They should. I don't know if they will or not.
They won't. Just answer me the question, okay? I've been saying it forever. They ain't going to make a deal. All right, Noam, what else is going on? This horse and carriage thing is a big deal. Huh?
Yeah, well, really emotional day. I don't know if you saw any of this testimony at City Hall yesterday where you had both sides talking about for and against the ban on horse and buggies in Central Park, and you had some family members of that teenager from India who was killed when a horse and buggy crashed last month in Central Park. They spoke out. Yeah. His, I think it was his aunt that spoke out. And then you had, some of the drivers who say, you can't take away my livelihood. This is in my family blood. My parents did it. I took over the business. I don't believe the part of this bill states that the City Hall lawmakers would help these drivers find new jobs in the hospitality industry. But these people say, I don't believe that. They don't think they'll follow through on that promise. And then you had Edie Falco, the actress. She's a big animal rights activist.
Edie Falco, for folks that don't remember, played the wife of Tony Soprano on The Sopranos. Had her own show after that was very successful on Showtime called Nurse Jackie. But it all started for Edie, and I remember this very, very well. She played a prison guard in the show Oz. Remember that?
It's funny, I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
No.
I think Chris Maloney may have banged her. I don't know, but I love Edie. She's great. She's a liberal, but I like her.
She was really passionate in her speech yesterday, too. So now lawmakers will have to decide whether they want to enact this ban. So far, they've been unsuccessful in doing this.
I disagree with the ban. I'm sorry. I love Julie Menon these days. Love is probably a strong word, but I like her. And I like the city council. And I like what they're doing, pushing back against Mamdani. But this one is not my fight. I don't care. I think it's revenue. It's good money for New York. And if I like horse racing, which I do, how am I going to make an argument against horse and carriages in Central Park? You're whipping this damn horse to win the Kentucky Derby, sticking a prod up its ass. How am I going to say, the horse and carriage, I can't deal with that. So I'm not big on this one, Noam. I'm sorry.
You could make the argument those horses in Central Park are treated a lot better than the racehorses.
That's right. So, what else you got out there?
Well, you were asking about Chuck Schumer's moment as he took to the Senate floor yesterday. The sound that was heard all around the world.
Oh, it was a fart, right?
You want to hear it?
Oh, I want to hear it so badly.
Okay, I think this is it. I hope I got it right. Here's the audio yesterday as he was giving a speech on the Senate floor.
On Iran and the NDAA. When all the Trump administration...
Are you serious? It was that loud?
Well, they may have amplified it.
Oh, okay, because that was definitely a fart. No, it was more like a like that, right?
If you listen to him after his explosion, you can hear the smile that he knows it has just happened. So, listen again. You'll hear what I'm talking about.
On Iran and the NDAA. When all the Trump administration...
He laughs a little bit.
He definitely made duty in his pants, too. There's no doubt about it. So you had to check Chuck Schumer's underwear after that, right?
Yeah, he may have that exploding diarrhea that's going around.
Oh, that would have been great.
Yeah.
Oh, so humiliating. Chuck Schumer. Oh, way to go, Chuck. Yep, there he is. Yeah. That's about what he's worth at this point, is a wet fart. That's all he's worth at this point, is a wet fart. What else you got there, Wallace?
I don't know if anything beats that, so I don't have anything else.
Yeah, you got to end it right there. As good as it gets. There you go. That is the moment of the week, ladies and gentlemen. Chuck Schumer actually shizzled his pants while talking about President Trump.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Rescue Me, starring Dennis Leary, but a bunch of other big stars. And Leary plays a firefighter here in New York City. And the 4 or 5 guys in his firehouse, all great actors, all very funny and serious. They take you on this ride post 9/11. Leary's a star. And as I told you in the show, he loses his cousin, some other very close people to him, 9/11. And then he struggles throughout the program to get through life. And what happens is there'll be scenes where he'll be sitting there and all of a sudden his dead cousin Jimmy will pop up. And he was a firefighter that died 9/11. And he'll have these conversations with people like his cousin who perished on that day as he moves forward with his life. He's a raging alcoholic in the show. He tries time and time again with the help of sponsors and AA and others to try to get sober, and then he just stops trying. He's got a pretty ex-wife who's a maniac, slept with him. His brother, who was played by Dean Winters, he dies too, and other characters on the show. But it's a really good look into what the firefighters went through after 9/11. And as we get set to commemorate 25 years this year, sorry, I've got a little bit of a frog in my throat. I made this audience a promise after we celebrated July 4th last weekend, 250 years of our beautiful country. I told you guys I was going to move to 9/11. And starting last Monday, I would play something or mention something about 9/11. And we have remained true to that, Lewis, every day, right? Every day.
So far, yes.
Rudy Giuliani cuts, Mike Piazza home run, Bernie Kerik cuts, all kinds of stuff. So today, as we look back to that tragic day and get ready to commemorate 25 years, we actually have a piece of audio. How about this? Me and President Trump last year on this show, where President Trump sends a message to struggling New Yorkers last year on the 24th commemoration. Getting it now, okay? He's on the show sheet here, number 15. So, is it in there now?
We had a mix-up, yes.
Okay.
We're getting it.
All right. So, we're going to play Trump talking about 9/11 from last year. The other day, we played the Piazza home run. I wanted to play Rudy Giuliani's follow-up. I never got to it. I want to get Rudy Giuliani on the show this year, even though Rudy is not a member of our cast anymore. But 25 years, I got to get Rudy. I have to. But here it is. This is last year. President Trump talking with me about 9/11.
President Trump, I play the tape every year of you calling. You called into Channel 11 or Channel 9, I forget. And, man, you were so prescient. You were right on the money. What'll be your message for the folks that are still struggling here in New York?
Well, just keep it going. I mean, this is a very, very big development, the fact that we have somebody coming in with this ideology. That's a big, big and very bad development for New York. You'll have people leaving. You have a lot of people with money or controlling money that are going to leave. It's a tremendously negative thing for the city. But, New York has always found a way to survive. I announced, and I know he's a friend of his, Rudy Giuliani, we're going to give him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is a big deal.
Love that.
It's a big deal. It's the highest civilian award.
Yep.
It's sort of the civilian equivalent to the Medal of Honor, because Rudy suffered. They made him suffer. And he was the greatest mayor we've ever had. And it was such an honor. But if you look back, and, New York has always been, it's down, it's never going to come back, and it comes back. And I think it'll come back, and I'm going to be helping it from Washington, and it's a big deal.
How about that? So that conversation took place about 6 weeks before Mamdani even won. And he warned us in that conversation about what might happen if Mamdani wins, and he's right. Because we have seen that since Mamdani's won, people are leaving here by the droves, the money people. Trump mentioned the money people. So there he was, last September, even before Mamdani won, warning us, and he was right.
He was totally right.
Totally right, President Trump. Now I wish he would come back and just punch Mamdani right across the face. I mean verbally, obviously. Which he doesn't do. He's still kind of nice to this creep, this communist jihadist creep. But for what it's worth, that was President Trump right before 9/11 last year, as we got set to commemorate 24 years, the big one, 25 years coming up this September.
This is Sid on Sports. Oh, my goodness! Sponsored by Peerless Boilers on 77 WABC.
Justin Ellick here, their sports update sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a deal under you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best built boilers out in Atlanta. Lionel Messi and Argentina now one step away from back-to-back World Cup titles, rallying for a 2-1 victory over England to punch their ticket to take on European champions Spain in the final on Sunday in East Rutherford, MetLife. The best that South America has to offer against the best of Europe should be a great matchup. Messi did feed the ball to Enzo Fernandez to sweep in the equalizer from outside the box at the 85th minute, and then 2 minutes into stoppage time, Lionel sent in a cross for substitute Lautaro Martinez to head in the winner. England will meet France in the consolation game Saturday evening in Miami, all before Sunday's final from MetLife at 3 p.m. Baseball's back tonight. The Mets, actually, are the only team, or the Phillies as well. They'll be playing out in Philadelphia. Opener will be 3-game set. It's the only game on the MLB schedule today. Christian Scott to get the start for New York against Phillies' Aaron Nola. Yanks open their second half action come tomorrow night when they'll welcome in the LA Dodgers for the opener of a 3-game weekend series there. That's your sports, sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a deal near you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best built boilers. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
You have seen this very discreet, extremely well-funded campaign to try to derail the negotiation and try to derail the deal. And, there's this Time article that came out yesterday. A friend sent it to me. It's worth reading because it lists a bunch of people who have quite literally been paid by a former Trump campaign person who was himself paid by certain elements within the Israeli government. And those people are attacking me viciously for quite literally trying to accomplish the negotiation objective that the president set for the country. So
what is their position? They're attacking you how?
Oh, it's social media posts. It's, they're leaking to reporters. They're attacking me obsessively, saying that we should not be negotiating with Iran. We should just keep the military campaign going indefinitely. And that is their explicit position. And coming after me saying that, people have come after me and say that I'm influenced by Qatar, that I'm influenced by foreign governments, that, I take my marching orders from Tucker Carlson. And there's just so much bullshit out there when what I'm actually trying to do is accomplish what the President of the United States told me to accomplish, which is a settlement of this that accomplishes our objectives. Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon. We have the free flow of oil and gas. And like, I should be clear, I don't actually mind. I don't mind that let's say certain elements of the Israeli government want to criticize the deal or have disagreements about the deal. I don't even mind an effort to try to influence, foreign governments try to influence the United States all the time. Israel does it, other countries do it. It's just sort of the nature of the beast. What bothers me is actually when Americans meaning American leadership, allows that influence to affect their judgment and to affect what they are advocating for. That's what really bothers me. People are always going to try to influence the United States of America, whether they're allies of ours or whether they're enemies of ours. But again, when I open up the pages of Time magazine and I see that there's a literal foreign influence campaign being funded to tank the very deal that I was pursuing, and oh, by the way, many of the people who were receiving that money were actually attacking me in completely dishonest ways, my response to that is, well, go to hell. I'm going to do what I have to do for the American people. I represent Americans first.
This is a guy that did not want this war in the first place. He was actually, and I know this for a fact, okay, some of you say, he didn't want it. You don't even know. He was a real pain in the ass. There were screaming matches inside Trump's Oval Office with J.D. Vance. And a lot of people that are very close to President Trump, the inner circle, which you guys don't even know of who those people are. I do. They don't like him. They don't like him. And I don't like him. Okay? So that little back and forth with Joe Rogan about Israeli influencers and money, and they're trying to derail what he's trying to accomplish, and I don't buy any of it. This is a guy that did not want this war in the first place, that no matter what he says publicly, is not a big fan of Israel or Netanyahu, which is fine. That seems to be the growing trend these days. But it doesn't work with me. So I'm interested to hear from Rich Lowry, the editor of the National Review, what he thinks. So with that said, Richard, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. What do you think of J.D. Vance?
I think that statement, what's really irksome about it is the deal fell apart because of Iran, right? Iran was supposed to...
Wait, stop right there. Stop right there. Rich Lowry just made all the sense in the world. While J.D. Vance is trying to blame Israel and Israel influencers and money, the reason why the deal fell apart was because of Iran. You just said it, Rich. That's where you should be really annoyed with J.D. Vance.
Yeah, the agreement said it was ambiguous, and it clearly gave implicit control of the Strait to Iran, which was a very bad thing. One of the reasons it was a terrible deal to begin with. But they were supposed to use their best efforts to assure a safe passage in the Strait, and it's just not consistent with that agreement if you're shooting at tankers and killing people, which they have been, over the last week or so. So that's what tanked it. And it's true, there is a pro-Israel influence campaign run by a former Trump guy, Brad Parscale, but Parscale swears that he didn't use these guys to try to undermine the MOU. And certainly everyone I know, I saw on X or I talked to or I saw on TV, including you, were sincerely appalled by the deal and have been proved out. So why are you going out of your way to criticize all those people rather than the Iranians?
Right. And the truth is, well, yes, Pascal exists. The pro-Israel side does exist. There's also an anti-Israel side.
Of course.
Why are you just pointing out the pro-Israel side?
Yep.
There's an anti-Israel side, JD, which includes your good buddy Tucker Carlson, which have been in Trump's ears in the last couple of months, that said, don't do this from the very beginning.
Yeah, so he would never in a million years, JD, say, Tucker's been saying these insane things, that Israel assassinated Charlie Kirk to intimidate the President of the United States into this war with Iran. No one should suggest my good friend Donald Trump is scared of anyone. He'll never do that. He'll never do that, right? Because he's still friends with Tucker and wants that part of the coalition, that part of the right, to be part of his coalition.
You talk about the pro-Israel stuff. The president is going to speak tonight at 9 o'clock. What about, Rich Lowry, the 100 House Democrats that voted yesterday, no shock here, to cut aid to Israel. What about that?
Well, that's the way the wind is blowing. And look, if you look at Ro Khanna and what he did in Israel, this is a guy who wanted to be a moderate 2 or 3 years ago. Now wants to be, a fervent anti-Zionist, and he's a hypocrite and cynic. But it shows you're winning the debate when the hypocrites and cynics are coming your way and they're going the anti-Israel way. So that's a very bad thing. And this is going to be. It's always been a debate. It's going to be even a hotter one between the left and the right and within the right.
Yeah, because the problem is the left is completely, for the most part, I should say, anti-Israel, anti-Zionist. They go together, despite what the people will try to convince you. They go together. But now you got people on the right, too. So it looks it looks like a very, very tough fight for Bibi and Israel. And all they're doing, and you know this, Rich, this little country, all these other Arab countries want to wipe them out. All these European countries would love to see them wiped out. And now you've got a lot of Americans who wouldn't mind seeing the same thing. And all Bibi is trying to do is survive in a world where all these morons here in the United States, because they want to, they're not even stupid, a lot of them, because they want to, are buying all the propaganda that started October the 8th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you got to say, unfortunately, a key part of the Hamas strategy worked, right? They wanted Israel to lash back, which any society would have, and a lot of civilians to die in a war, large part because Hamas hides among civilians, and to say, look how terrible Israel is. And it's worked. It didn't work in the initial couple days, but we talked about this. How long would it take Biden to turn against Israel, right? It wasn't very long, and he was being driven by the left,
right,
which instantly turned against Israel. So no society would put up with what – if you look at Hezbollah, a lot of people, they're invading Lebanon. They're only invading in Lebanon because Hezbollah is rocketing them, right? If they're a terror force in Michigan rocketing nice, pleasant Canada would invade Michigan to stop it.
Right.
No one else would put up with it. And there's this vast double standard where no other conflict in the world supposedly matters. It's all about Israel, and every time there's a shooting war with a terrorist group, Israel's to blame. It's perverse.
They blame Israel for everything. I mean, I saw some guy do some funny bit, some video bit a couple of days ago where he just brought up a whole bunch of the world's problems, and he's like, Israel, and he was being funny. But the truth is, at this point, people are so deranged and so sick, and a lot of them are so hateful, Tucker included, they find a way to blame Israel for everything.
Yeah, of course. And for the left, it's because they now consider Israel a white society. Ro Khanna went over there and said, I never felt brown before until I was on the West Bank. Whereas, more than half of Israeli Jewish population in Israel, they're from the Middle East or North Africa, not people that we would consider white.
And by the way, the majority of the West Bank, because people don't know this, I don't call it the West Bank, I call it Judea and Samaria. That's where you get the term Jew from, okay? It's Judea and Samaria, not the West Bank. But most of those people, the overwhelming majority, are Palestinians, not Israelis.
Mm-hmm.
You know that.
Yeah, and then 20% of the Israeli population are Arabs, and they have the right to vote. They have justices on the Supreme Court. 20% of the Israeli population, 20% of the Israeli doctors are Arab. Half the pharmacists, 20% of the college students, they fully participate in Israeli society, and arguably are the freest Arabs in the Middle East, the ones living in Israel, and are supposed to believe it's an apartheid society. Again, it's just perverse.
Rich Lowry, the editor of the National Review. So, Richard, when you started on this show many years ago, it was widely known that you were really, really good friends with one John Bolton. I don't want the FBI coming to your house, okay? But Bernie used to say to me, your friend Rich, he's a big war hawk. I go, he is? I don't even know. I don't know. And we lost a guy last week that the left, again, describe as a warmonger. That's all he was. Not because, oh, my God, what a horrible person. He stood up for the victims. Israel are the victims, you dumb bastards. Ukraine are the victims, you dumb bastards. The Taiwanese are the victims, you dumb bastards. And that's who Lindsey Graham stood up for. So smart people like me go, oh, my God, what a horrible loss. But the left goes, thank God another warmonger is dead. Who's right?
Well, he was an interventionist to a fault, I would say, even too interventionist for me at times, but very sincere in what he believed, largely correct, stalwart friend of Israel and Ukraine, our embattled allies, and hated tyrants of all kinds. And he made the calculation, which I think proved out and was the correct one. I'm not a Donald Trump guy, in 2015 or 2016. He's controls the Republican Party and is probably going to win the presidency. I need to be friends with that guy, and I need to influence him. And Lindsey did it quite effectively, won more internal battles with, the J.D. Vance types in the Trump years than he was entitled to, and did a fantastic job. And this was a guy, he loved the game. He loved being on TV. He loved making arguments. He loved maneuvering to try to advance the ball, for his point of view, whether it was influencing Trump or fellow senators behind closed doors. Just a tremendous senator, highly effective, and no other senators enjoyed the job more than Lindsey Graham has.
Last question. Joe Rogan also brought up Epstein with J.D. Vance yesterday, and Vance said, listen, CIA and Mossad, I think he could have been both. Because Rogan started by saying, most people think he was Mossad. All right. Why do you think, honestly, above and beyond the people out there that actually care, which I think are the minority, I really do, that actually care about the victims, why do you think, as MS now discusses Epstein right now, why do you think that it's still brought up almost every day, especially on the liberal channels? Why is that?
Well, they used to dismiss all this as right-wing conspiracy theories until the light bulb went off sometime last year. No, actually, this is really a useful tool against Trump and to divide the right. So they've been obsessed with it ever since. Speaking of Ro Khanna, he clearly made this turn just when he realized he never talked about it before until he realized it was a tool.
Do you know who's sitting on MS Now right now being interviewed about the Epstein files?
Ro Khanna?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
There you go. So, look, if there's evidence that he was a Mossad agent, J.D. Vance needs to go get it and release it right now. I do not think that's the case. It would make no sense to me that Israel would take the enormous risk of running a pedophile agent in the United States that would totally blow up.
Well, they go back. I brought this up to Noam earlier. What they go back to is his partner, Ghislaine Maxwell. Her father, Robert Maxwell, is buried in the very prestigious Mount of Olives Cemetery, which overlooks the Western Wall, and nobody can figure out why Robert Maxwell is buried there. So they're making this leap that if Ghislaine Maxwell's father is buried in this very prestigious Israeli cemetery, then Epstein must have been Mossad.
Yeah, so but obviously that's a logical leap. There's no connection there, and obviously her dad was a Mossad agent or had a connection with Mossad, but no one who's testified about this. Ghislaine, when she talked to what's his name, Todd Blanche, several months ago last year, no indications. Alan Dershowitz, who's pro-Israel, but is not a liar. No indication. So again, it would have been an enormous risk. And if Mossad wants to if there's someone who has a problem with young women that Mossad wants to influence or get after it, they can do it directly. You send the young girl to a bar to pick the guy up, and then you have a camera in the hotel room or whatever. You don't need Epstein to do it. So it's just a fantasy, and part of it, not all of it, but part of it is people who just want to believe Jews control the world for their nefarious ends.
It's true. It is so disgusting. Please, Rich Lowry, on the way out, because I believe you more than anybody. I trust you. Please tell me that Marco Rubio is going to be my nominee in 2000.
No, I was thinking when we came into the segment, Sid, you're going to end up voting for J.D. Vance.
I'm not going to have a choice. I'm still going to vote for J.D. Vance over a Democrat, but I don't want J.D. Vance. I'll take Marco Rubio or Ted Cruz out of J.D. Vance.
Yeah, I mean, there'll be a race. People will run against him, and these races always get competitive at some point, but he's a prohibitive favorite, I have to say.
You don't think Marco Rubio can beat him?
I think he could. I don't think he's going to run.
Either do I. But why don't you think he's going to run?
He's got a fantastic job. He's still young, and he has a better sense of the inside dynamic between Trump and Vance than we do. And if he, sensing, a major rupture on the way, maybe he would run. But I don't think he's going to run if he thinks Trump's going to be in Vance's camp.
I think you nailed it. And I think J.D. will get that from Trump. Rich Lowry, as always, you're brilliant. You're great. I love you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ed.
All right, Rich. Rich Lowry, the editor right there, the National Review, one of our great weekly guests. which Lowry does a fantastic job. All right, we'll get Nomi with the news. We'll get the Worldwide News Network. Then we'll talk to Mike Lawler.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
My son Gabriel, our only son, the beautiful Danielle and I, he works for Bruce. He's a paid intern. And today happens to be day 4 of Gabe Rosenberg's employment for Bruce Blakeman. So it turns out, Noam, that we'll get to Mike Lawler quickly here, that every Tuesday and Thursday at the Nassau County Executive's office, they have speakers come in. You know, most of these speakers are boring, let's be honest, okay? So one of the kids, because Gabriel is very popular, obviously, one of the kids said, hey, you should get your dad to speak here. So Gabe said, what do you think, Dad? So I called Chris Boyle yesterday, Blakeman's guy, and I said, listen, if you guys want me to, I'd be more than happy to come on a Tuesday or a Thursday. Of course, you have to provide transportation. Get Tom Sullivan over the house and speak to these little kids and explain to them, above and beyond what Bruce says, how to become successful. And he said, that sounds like a great idea. And then it occurred to me, Noam,
all right,
that I have no idea what to tell them because I didn't exactly do it the conventional way. You know, rehab and jail isn't always the best road to success, but it worked for me.
Well,
so what do you think?
You're not going to say that part.
Of course I am.
Okay. I mean, I'm not saying it's not a relevant part.
No, what I'm going to say is, without saying that, is that life experience, I say this all the time, you guys know that, no matter what field you're in, politics, business, radio, television, nothing replaces life experience. Nothing. Nothing. Doesn't matter what you learn, how much you know, what you think you know. It's all about life experience. I know you know that, Noam, right?
Yeah, I think you do a little narrative. You say you never know where life's going to take you, and sometimes you get punched and slapped around, and then you got to get back up.
I like that.
Perfect. I love that.
That is good.
It's good.
Very Rocky-ish.
And it's going to happen to you. That's what you have to tell them, too, is that there's going to, it's peaks and valleys, man. Bad things happen to you, but it's how you respond to all those things.
That's it.
Man.
Maybe I should give the speech.
Maybe you should. You mind going? You're bald and Jewish. And
right, they might think
it'll
it's
work
you.
out. They'll have no idea.
Right.
Just go to the tanning salon for a couple of days.
Right.
Yeah.
He could be Rocky's trainer. I mean,
yeah,
no.
He could be. I got him, Rock.
Rock when he gets you down, to get back up. What is it inside of you, Rock?
Yeah. Well, we'll take a break when we get back. He's been knocked down. He keeps getting back up, too. President Trump refers to him as Mr. Salt. I call him the king of Rockland County, our amazing Congressman, Mike Lawler.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The king of Rockland County, my guy, Congressman Mike Lawler, and they've been fighting a very public feud, ugly, on the same team on Twitter for days. Here he is, my guy, Mike Lawler. Michael, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, Sid. How are you?
I'm great. So, A, why did that line piss you off so much from Nancy? And B, how ugly has it been? And hopefully could it get even uglier?
I haven't had any back and forth with her since I responded to that, comment that she posted. I mean, look, first of all, it's distasteful. Second of all, it's just vile. I mean, the man literally died in a, shocking death just hours before. And she tweets out a meme, saying, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. No. Nobody is pulling you back in.
Nobody?
Nobody is asking you to run.
Nobody.
Nobody wants you in the United States Senate. Hell, we don't even want you in the House of Representatives. The fact is, and it's sad because she's just, there's clearly issues going on there. I'll leave it at that. But she needs help. And she should not be in public office. The fact that she ran for governor and she got absolutely smoked.
Oh, Trump screwed her. Trump endorsed the other lady.
No, he didn't screw her.
No?
She was unfit to serve as governor.
Ah, come on.
Look, Sid, I work with these people, okay? She's unfit to serve. And the fact is, nobody was asking her to run for the United States Senate. Nobody is asking her to run for the United States Senate. And sometimes have a little class and say nothing. Just say nothing. If you can't say something positive or, sincere in a moment of tragedy, just say nothing.
Yeah.
You're better off.
No, I don't disagree with you. So what did she say to you when you were like, come on, Nancy, you vile wretched, whatever you called her?
I haven't seen any response. If she did respond, I could care less.
Right.
I mean,
You know what's funny?
She certainly didn't say anything to me in person.
Okay, so what's funny is the night that you and I really became friendly, the first night was when you took me and Danielle on that really late night tour of the Capitol. You were great. You and Anthony D'Esposito. But we had dinner that night, you may remember, at the Capitol Grill in D.C. And it was Nick LaLota, Nicole Maliotakis, and you were there, and Anthony was there, and Nancy. And I even noticed that night, this is going back the night I got thrown out, the night before I got thrown out of the State of the Union. I even noticed back then, it didn't seem like you guys were all that buddy-buddy. So does this Lawler Mace, I don't want to say feud, but at the very least, the Lawler Mace disconnect, is this a couple of years old?
Listen, from the time she voted to remove Kevin McCarthy as Speaker, I have no use for her. Absolutely.
That's
zero
what it
use
is. So you're mad about that still?
It's not even mad about it. It's just I have no use for you. Good luck. Like she's just. It's all about her. It always has been, and God bless her.
She did get President Trump $15 million, just so you know.
What did she do?
She was on with George Stephanopoulos. When Stephanopoulos, George.
Oh, in that exchange, yeah.
Well, Trump got $15 million because of that.
God bless.
So do you think, on a serious note, she did get wiped out in that gubernatorial primary. Do you think basically her political career is over?
Oh, probably. But you know why it's over? Because of her own conduct. It has nothing to do with President Trump. It has nothing to do with getting shellacked in a primary. It's because the voters in South Carolina woke up to the fact that there's something wrong. There's something wrong. And honestly, I mean, Kevin has said this before. Others have said it. I hope she gets help. She should not be in public office. There are some people that this is just not the job for them. And, I think Nancy really should just focus on herself and getting help and whatever.
Oh, that's sweet.
Fundamentally, public office is not a role she should be in.
All right, and that's very nice of you and very, very fair. This is the great Mike Lawler. All right, so you got an election coming up in November, and maybe I shouldn't do this, but because I think the world of you, I think you're so smart and a great congressman, I don't really worry about your upcoming elections. But I was told by somebody, who remain nameless, that this lady that's running against you has a little bit of momentum. Is there any truth to that? And if that is true, why?
Look, my district is one of the toughest districts in the country, and we've done very well. We've been very successful in our elections. I've won 3 times in 2-1 Democratic districts, first for the Assembly and twice for Congress, and now we're running for the 3rd time for Congress. But it's not an easy district. There's 80,000 more Democrats than Republicans. It's home to the Clintons and George Soros. And New York State and national Democrats are pouring in tens of millions of dollars to try to defeat me. They are throwing everything they can at me in the hopes that, I stumble. But the fact is, we're doing the job, and we're doing what is supposed to get done on behalf of my constituents. I'm very proud of the record that I've amassed during my time in Congress, delivering real results. I just passed a major housing bill that became law last Friday, the biggest bipartisan housing package in 36 years. 20% of the bill is mine. It's written by me, and the work that I've done on the Housing and Insurance Subcommittee and delivered on the issue of SALT. I work tirelessly on behalf of my constituents, and their whole campaign is Trump, 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 Trump. To me, fundamentally, regardless of who the president is, if you want to be able to get anything done, for your constituents, for your district. You have to be able to work with people on both sides of the aisle, and especially whoever the president is. And my opponent, Kate Conley, a combat war veteran, bless her for her service. We appreciate her service to this country. She agrees with the radical socialists. She will empower the radical socialists that just came out of these primaries in New York City, the Brad Landers of the world. In fact, she said she would welcome Brad Lander up to the district to campaign.
Oh,
Please,
my God.
Bring him.
That's
Bring him.
terrible. Right.
I'll go pick him up.
Right.
And bring him
I
up
mean,
there.
she also
we can have a great,
right.
a great conversation.
Correct
about
me if
the
I'm
issue.
wrong, but she also embraces Mamdani, right? Mamdani.
She has not disowned or disassociated with any of these people from Mamdani to AOC. She supports open borders. She supports sanctuary cities. She supports abolishing ICE. The fact is, she can call herself whatever she wants, but she agrees with the positions of these parties. And her great benefactor, Pat Ryan, who helped recruit her to run for this seat, literally just voted to defund Israel yesterday. And she said nothing about it. So, this is the challenge. She's not, frankly, capable of handling this job. She would not be able to push back on these people. She would go right along with them. They try to say I vote 100% of the time with the president. Well, that's just not true. And the record bears that out. And I have a very clear record of being able to push back against my own party, but also to be able to work to deliver for my constituents and my community. And that's not an easy thing to do. You actually have to understand how to work through the process. You actually have to be able to work with people. And so I feel good about where we are. They put out some cockamamie poll last week saying that she was up 6, which is laughable on its face. But, this is going to be a fight. And I'm fully committed to it. I'm fully invested in this race. And I will do everything in my power between now and Election Day to make sure that we not only win my seat, but that we keep the House Republican majority.
Mike, over my lifetime, I've made a lot of mistakes, a lot. Some of them pretty nasty. And people say, Sid, you have regrets. I do. I have regrets. There are things I would have done differently, no doubt about it. And one of the things I regret is I've been arrested twice in my life for DUIs. And I haven't driven a car now in like 9 years. And I know the dangers. Innocent people die every day because people who have had too much to drink get behind the wheel. So I don't sugarcoat it, and I don't blame anybody else. I got fired, and it was my fault. But for some reason, the last couple of days, you brought up an incident in your life that dates back 14 years ago to a very, very sad time in your life, St. Patrick's Day, when you found out your dad was really, really sick. So I guess it's 2 questions. Did Conlon bring this up? Is that why you felt the need this week to talk about this incident 14 years ago? And how do you feel about it 14 years later?
No, there was a mock DWI demonstration in my district in Nanuet, where I grew up when I was really young, and speaking to high school seniors about the perils of underage drinking and driving and impaired driving. And, I decided to share my story and tell them about, an incident in which I drove drunk and made a really poor decision. Fortunately, nobody was hurt, neither myself nor someone else, but I was pulled over and arrested and ultimately led down to DWAI. And the point of telling them that was, that was the day it happened. It was a confluence of events. I drove home from Rochester, New York, where we had the state Republican convention. I was the executive director at the time. Got home. My parents told me about, my dad's cancer having metastasized, and, obviously very shocking and upsetting.
Of course.
I was going to the city that evening to see friends. It was St. Patrick's Day. So, probably should have just stayed home, but went to the city, had a lot to drink. And I was on the phone with a friend, and I was kind of walking around the block and arrived at my car and just decided I wanted to go home and see my dad and be home, and drove home, drunk, and ultimately got pulled over on the Palisades Parkway. And, I'm grateful I got pulled over and nobody was hurt. But I shared that story because no matter what is happening in your life, no matter, what the situation is, whether it's a joyful occasion or whether it's something that's sad and upsetting, it's no justification to drive drunk. And I wanted these children who are graduating high school and have some newfound freedom and going to college soon and going into the real world, if you will, to understand even, someone like me who's in a position of power can make a really bad decision. And so we shared that with them, and ultimately, talked to Tara Rosenblum with News 12 about it, and wanted to share that. It wasn't some secret. I mean, people in Rockland certainly knew about it, and it's not something I haven't talked about with people before. But obviously, on a large scale public interview, had not done that. So we chose to do that and let people know about it.
Good for you. Good for you, Mike Lawler. I do want to ask you about this Joe Rogan, J.D. Vance conversation. I don't like him. I don't like J.D. Vance. I just don't. I love Marco Rubio. I know he's not going to run. I don't know that, but I that's a feeling I've got, that bad feeling in my gut. And I do think J.D. Vance will be the nominee, and I'll have to vote for him because I can't vote for a Democrat. But I'm not a big J.D. Vance guy. What are your thoughts on the Rogan, J.D. Vance conversation yesterday?
So I didn't get to watch the interview, but I saw some of the headlines that came out of it. Obviously I have some concerns on some of the comments made, especially surrounding Israel. I've gotten to know JD. I like him personally, and certainly, I think it's going to be between him and Marco. And I like Marco very much as well. But, look, there's some of these issues that we're going to have to work through as a party. You saw yesterday a vote on the House floor. Thankfully, only one Republican voted to defund, military aid.
Who was that?
And that was Thomas Massey, of course.
Of course, jerk off. See you. Bye-bye, Tommy. Dick Base.
It was his amendment, but you had over 100 Democrats, including Nancy Pelosi, voted for it. I mean, this is obviously a major issue and a major fissure in our politics right now. And, I think this is something we're going to have to work through as a party, as a country. I think a lot of people really, frankly, don't understand what's happening in the world and don't recognize the very real threats posed by China, Russia, Iran, the intersection between these countries, and, what needs to be done to ensure peace and stability. And, frankly, I think so much of the criticism against Israel is not only unjustified, it's not recognizing reality. If, for instance, Canada was launching missiles into, upstate New York on a weekly basis, I think most Americans would have a very strong reaction.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
And so, I think there's just a total disconnect on the reality of what Israel has to deal with, what our allies in the region have to deal with, the threats posed. Frankly, not recognizing there's been many American lives lost, as a result of these attacks perpetrated by Iran and its terror proxy network. And so, I think this is a debate that is worth having. It's a discussion worth having. Certainly, in my engagement with the vice president and others, I'm very direct on these issues. So, the vice president is a very smart guy. I think he obviously has strong opinions on a lot of things. But this is why you have a primary process. It's why you have a electoral process, and these issues will all come out and be debated and discussed in the future. But, I think the vice president has been a very strong leader in a lot of respects, and certainly, like I said, a very smart guy. I've gotten to know him a little bit, and I've had very positive engagements with him on a myriad of issues.
You could have him. Good for you. No, thanks. But you, I love dearly. It took a lot of courage to talk about that story. I know you've done it before, but to do it on this show, live radio, was great because it is a very important message. And I just think you're the greatest. So, Mr. Salt, thank you so much for another great appearance. Thank you.
Thanks, Sid. I'll talk to you soon, bud.
I love you, Mike. All right, man. Mike Lawler right there. The king of Rockland County, Mr. Salt, an amazing congressman, an even better man. We'll take a break. We'll come back and talk about Rockland County. This guy happens to be the best pollster in the world. Not just New York, not just the country, in the world. He's up there. John McLaughlin.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
John, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. And it's a lot of pressure. You put a lot of pressure on the pollster. We just take the polls and report it.
No, you're the best. And all your clients, Mike Lawler, Bibi Netanyahu, President Trump, they're all on my show. All your clients.
Yeah, I've told the president I wrote his coattails. As long as President Trump is there in office and we've won, you can say all the nice things about me that you want.
100%. And you think, and I know you don't want to put words in the president's mouth. I'm going to ask you to do it anyway. Okay, but it's fine. Do you think President Trump was happy or unhappy with J.D. Vance yesterday? Just your opinion.
I haven't heard from him about it, but I think the president's focused on winning the war in Iran, and he's trying to do this. He's trying to negotiate with terrorists, and you hear these other people talk about moderate terrorists. There's no such thing. It's an oxymoron, and I'm sure he's trying to do this peacefully, but he's got two goals. One is stopping Iran from getting nuclear weapons. And by the way, in our last June poll, 76% of all Americans approved of that. And about also stopping Iran from funding international terrorism. And 75% of all Americans support that. So he's got these big two objectives that he's trying to accomplish. And the problem is the Iranians don't want to do that. So they want to, They keep firing on our ships, and they keep, they want to close the Strait of Hormuz, and they keep, it's just right now they don't have the power to attack Israel. But these guys, we've done polls in the United States and in America where 6 out of 10 Americans and 6 out of 10 Israelis think that if Iran had nuclear missiles, they would shoot them at the United States and Iran and Israel, and they would, and that's what they're proving because they have lobbed missiles. You've been in Israel.
I've been there.
They have lobbed missiles into Israel, and Americans would never tolerate this.
Never. Come on.
Spend all night in bomb shelters because of these terrorists, and whether it's rockets from Hezbollah or whether it's missiles straight from Iran. Israel's our strongest ally in the Middle East, and they're the only democracy there, and everybody around them wants to wipe them out. So
what do you think, though, John? The anti-Semites, anti-Zionist, anti-Israel, whatever you want to call them, they're so loud, right? They're so loud. They got their podcasts, and you got a lot of politicians, specifically on the left, that yell and scream this. But when I talk to smart people, like you, smart people, they go, Sid, trust me, this country is still, maybe even overwhelmingly, but at the risk of argument, this country is still pro-Israel, pro-Jewish. We're not a bunch of anti-Semites. What do you think?
Well, I think there is anti-Semitism is rising, and I think that the president may speak about this tonight. There are foreign powers or influences that try to influence our elections because our strength is our democracy and freedom of speech. and people try to turn that against us. But there's a lot of internet chatter trying to affect the Trump base, saying that Thomas Massey, when you talked about him, Thomas Massey, we did the polling for the president's allies to knock him off in the primary, and we did because he was voting against President Trump on everything from tax cuts. Whenever the Republicans need a vote, he was never there, and securing the border, he wasn't there, and he the night he loses, he's talking about Tel Aviv and stuff. So there's this anti-Semitism out there that's on the rise. We see it. We're New Yorkers. I got friends who tell me they can't wear yarmulkes on the subways because they're afraid.
I know, but they shouldn't do that. They should leave it on.
But still, it's a reality. And I mean, I'm helping Bruce Blakeman run for governor, and anti-Semitism is a real problem. And Bruce is doing very well with the voters, and particularly with Jewish voters. But when you look at the United States, Donald Trump's base is rock solid. We had in that same poll I mentioned, he had a 50% approval rating and he had a 46 disapprove. The Republicans, it's 88-10. Conservatives, it's 79-17. And that's the point about, look at these primaries. Virtually everyone he endorses wins.
Right.
Because he's reshaped the Republican Party into a movement that's this Make America First movement that is really solid, and they support him because they know his objectives are right. Keeping America strong, keeping America prosperous, reducing inflation, helping us with the cost of living, securing the borders. He's a businessman. He keeps his promises. He's not a politician who just reads the polls and asks, what do I need to do? I mean, he goes and he decides, I'm going to have no tax on tips, and then we have to poll it.
Right.
Find out if it's popular.
It was very popular. John McLaughlin, so you mentioned Bruce Blakeman. My son is actually working for Bruce, State Board for Gabe Rosenberg, and he loves him and I love him, and, he keeps saying the same thing. I said to Bruce last week, John, I said, Bruce, is there an undue amount of pressure on you? Because you hear this every day. Even I've said it. New York is done if you don't win. You are the only person that can save New York between Mamdani and Hochul. And he was honest. He said, Sid, you know what? It is a lot of pressure. But if somebody's got to do it, I want to be the guy to do it. So the last we saw, those polls went from 27 down to, I believe, 6 down.
6.
Is that what your most recent poll says?
Well, that was a published poll. I haven't done a statewide poll for Bruce since March because he's raising money right now, accumulating resources. I see polls from around the state all the time, and he's winning in upstate districts. On the island, he's winning really well. And for the Republicans, I mean, he's the only thing going on to help, like, our candidates for Congress and other offices, because the candidates for Congress behind him are doing well, and Hochul and Democrats know it, and they're going off on this crazy big government socialist march, where if Bruce doesn't win, it's really bad for those of us who decide to stay and live in New York, and we'll face future taxes. The city's in a deficit for billions. The state's in a deficit for billions. People, everybody talks about people leaving. Bruce is worried about the people that are staying in New York because their kids are here, their grandkids are here, their businesses are here. I mean, when they talk about those millionaires who left New York and it cost us $10 billion in revenue, most of those are small business owners. When they leave New York, they take their jobs with them. So, they're subchapter S corps. They pay the taxes and for New York State, this election, Mamdani gets whatever he wants for Governor Hochul. And if he wants to raise property taxes in New York City, he wants the state to raise income and corporate taxes. I mean, if Bruce doesn't win,
nightmare. But Dad,
we're going to, and let alone crime. They're going to shut Rikers Island, and So Bruce is running because he knows he has to win, and he really wants to. He wants to do it for New York. He loves New York. I mean, he's doing a great job in Nassau County, but he didn't have to run for this, and it's a difficult race. The fundraising probably is the hardest part because you got Hochul trying not to give him the matching funds, which was legal and deserved. You've got you got her trying to threaten donors, et cetera, where she doesn't, because if Bruce gets money, the people that know them both equally, when they see them both, if Bruce's favorables rise, they vote for Bruce. They'd rather see him as governor than her.
All right, about 2 minutes to go. I've been talking about J.D. Vance all morning. I want Marco Rubio, but the people I speak to big-time people, okay? They're like, it ain't going to happen. Trump is going to endorse J.D., and Rubio is not even going to run. So are you doing polls leading up to the next presidential election that include Rubio with Vance, or are you leaving Rubio out?
Well, just for the record, my brother Jim and I, we're focused on November 3rd. We've got to have our candidates succeed this November, because if we don't win, these big government socialists that get elected to Congress and other offices from the Democrats, they will be the tail wagging the dog. So we're focused on that. But in the meantime, we do on our website, on McLaughlinonline.com, we publish a national poll like every month of, who's leading among Republicans and Democrats. And among the Democrats, you got Kamala Harris at 26%, Newsom at 16%, AOC at 9%, and Buttigieg at 8%. So, and then for the Republicans, we've got J.D. at 35% and Marco at 15% and Don Trump Jr. at 14%. So it's like there's a lot going to happen based on November 4th, based on November 3rd.
That's fair.
And there'll probably be a free-for-all. But you know what? Let's get through November 3rd, where we can hold the House, we can hold the Senate, and then at the same time, we got to get guys like Michael Lawler reelected. We got to get we want to win the seats in Long Island, in Nassau County, the 3rd and the 4th. I mean, Janine Driscoll and Mike LaPetri are running. We've got really important elections to focus on between now and November 3rd. November 4th, it'll be a free-for-all.
Right. Then we'll talk about the presidential, the mayor's race. So then I'm going to put, you got to put your balls on the line here, McLaughlin, which you don't mind doing. That's why we love you. I know. Do you think, honestly, I know you're working hard, okay? Do you think, honestly, that I'll be in a good mood on November 4th?
I think you will be. Because the convention that's coming up in Dallas, we are going to show not only how successful the Republicans have been, in securing the border, growing the economy, reducing inflation, et cetera. We are going to show the contrast between the big government socialists and the Republicans, because now it's not going to be an election where it's just a referendum on Trump and the Republicans, and Donald Trump's not on the ballot. But we have to get the 77 million people that voted for him, where we won the popular vote, swept the battleground states. We got to get them out again, and we've got to fire them up, because if we don't get them out, you will have all the Democrats who voted for the $4 trillion tax increase. They're going to raise taxes like crazy.
Yep.
They're going to open the borders. They don't want voter ID. They don't want proof of citizenship. Yep. Our elections will be meaningless.
Yep.
So there's big stakes in it, and it should be a contrast election. You want Chevalier.
No.
She's going to be the tail wagging the dog.
I know.
Congress.
I know. She's an animal. She's gross.
Those big governments, Medicare for all, that's government-controlled health care.
Yep.
You will pay. California thought about doing it. They said, we can't afford it, so we won't do it. But you'll have to wait for your doctors. Your doctors will be government employees. We'll go back to that, where we're arguing, what they're doing in terms of, and then they'll be paying people not to work.
Right.
I mean, right now you have workfare.
Right.
And they're saying, you're dropping people from the rolls.
It'll be a disaster. There's no question. Johnny, I got to run. I got Lara Trump, Bill O'Reilly, and Clay Travis about to come up. But as always, a wealth of information. Excellent segment. I love you. Thank you so much.
You bring out the best in people, so thank you, Sid.
You said it to me yesterday. You actually did say it on the thank you, John. I owe you one. John McLaughlin right there, the best. Him and his brother Jim, the best pollsters. I mean this. Anywhere in the world, they've got Lawler, they've got Bibi, they've got Bruce, they've got Trump, the great John McLaughlin.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network. This is Sid and Friends in the morning. How many of us have them? Friends. 77 WABC.
Hi, Bay. We got the lovely Lara Trump. My favorite Trump. She's now moved ahead of all three guys. That's it. She's ahead by a good distance. She's on the line, and you're playing fart sounds from Chuck Schumer.
I'm sorry.
And then you book her for 8:30. It's 8:40, and she's still on hold.
Me?
Well, you told me to book her for 8:30.
What?
I think you did.
No.
And I think I do this to her almost every time. She's busy. She's got kids.
Yeah.
She's got TV shows. She's going to be president one day. Come on. Lara, I'm sorry. I don't even know what to say.
Listen, when you tell me 8:30, I already have planned that it's going to be 8:40. By the time that I was on hold, Sid, I dropped my kids off at the bus for camp. I literally took my dogs for a partial walk. I'm fine. It's all good. I know what to expect with you. I know the role now.
I know. You actually texted me a little while back. You said, all right, I got it now. 10 minutes at the very least. So that's
Exactly.
great. That is great. I got to start with your niece. Boy, she looked great at the ESPYs last night, didn't she?
Is she the greatest? I can't tell you how proud we are of Kai. And what's so crazy, and I know everybody has this moment, and this is how you know you're getting really old, is I met Kai when she was 1. I don't even know if she had turned 1 yet. She was a baby. To see her and what she's been able to do in such a short amount of time, she's obviously an incredible golfer, but she's also, I think, kind of become a bit of a role model for a lot of, young people out there. And I can't think of a better person. She's a hard worker. She's focused. She loves this country, and she's gorgeous. So I think she's got it all going on. I love to see it. And congrats to Kai on all her success. More to come.
You can say the same things about you that you just said about your niece. So she's a great kid, yes, and she got a huge future ahead of her. Let me get to the Charlie Kirk trial. I've seen your brother-in-law, Junior, on Fox News quite a bit. He's in that courtroom. And it's ugly. All the conspiracy theories after Charlie was murdered. I mean, really sick stuff. Really sick stuff. So I'm happy, Laura, that at least getting to the point where Tyler Robinson, he's the guy. We're going to eventually put this guy away, maybe kill him. I don't know. But at any rate, at least we're getting the real answers, because what we've dealt with over the last, 9 months since Charlie was murdered has been really grotesque, no?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, it has been so hard to take and so hard to watch and really sickening on so many levels. For people who didn't know Charlie, I think it's been sickening. For those of us who actually had a personal relationship with him, grotesque is probably the accurate word. And, I understand that this pretrial hearing had to go on for a longer amount of time, that Utah has a little bit different way of doing things, but I do think it kind of got dragged out a little long for a lot of people's taste. I do hope that we have full transparency here, because to your point, the way these conspiracy theories spun out of control, and the people who knew better, Sid, and went with it anyway, just to get a couple of clicks to, I guess, make a quick buck here or there, they ought to be ashamed of themselves. I hope everybody shuns these people in the way they should, because this is a man who we all knew and loved for his ability to communicate with people, his ability to reach across the aisle, his love for this country, his faith that he wore on his sleeve, and the way that they have taken this situation that we all should be mourning, and also should say we want to actually find out what really happened here, and pinned it on crazy stuff like Israel, Egyptian planes, his own wife. I cannot believe some of these people, but my hope is that we get full transparency in this trial, that we put to rest all of these crazy conspiracy theories, and I hope people learned a lesson here. You can't believe all of these clickbaity type people out there on the internet. Everyone is going to try to get something over the top to say, to try to get you to click on their links and watch their videos. Be better, understand that none of this stuff at the end of the day is true, and you have to know from whom you are getting your information. Let's get rid of these lunatics who have spread these crazy theories.
Well said, Lara. Now, Monday on this program, I had Bibi Netanyahu on. He called in. He was very sad about Lindsey Graham, as we all are, and it was a great phone conversation. And we spoke about a lot of things. Obviously, he still loves your father-in-law, no matter what people say. He said, we've never been better. Yeah, we disagree. So what? Friends disagree. Family members disagree. So what? But you just said it. Some of the conspiracy theories around Charlie Kirk involves people blaming Israel. I got to tell you, Lara. Now, look, I'm biased, true. Just came back from Israel 2 weeks ago. I'm going for a 6th time since the war this October 7th, and I do love that country, and I do love Bibi. But it is sickening and crazy how all across this country people blame everything, every ill in this country and around the world on Israel. I'll be honest. I didn't even like the VP's interview with Joe Rogan. You can stay out of it. I'm not going to. So tell me, Laura, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, it's really crazy to see. And if you look especially at the Democrat Party, I think they hold some culpability here. You know, you go back to 2016 and you had generally, pretty strong support from the Democrats for Israel. As the years have ticked by, it has become less and less. And now it feels like you have a lot of people within that party who are flat out anti-Semitic. And I think we have to go back to, it's some of these same people, by the way, who've been spreading this crazy stuff about Charlie Kirk's murder. Some of these people, I don't know what their end game is. I don't know.
No, but not to stop you, but and you're right. It is 99% Democrats, but some of those people include Tucker Carlson.
And it's really crazy to see. And I don't know what, again, some of these people's goals are, or maybe who is potentially paying them to say these things. Money talks. And so at the end of the day, I think you have to kind of go back to that. But the world we're in now, the 24-hour news cycle, the way people get their news and information, oftentimes from a singular source on the internet, I think has allowed this sort of thing to spread far and wide and to really grow legs. And it's such a shame to see. It's so crazy to see. And for those people who are fighting back and pushing back against it, thank you. I think history will reflect very well on those individuals. For those who are spreading this kind of nonsense, not only is it just bad for our relationship with Israel, and that is obviously our closest Middle Eastern ally. We should have the strongest relationship with Israel. There can be no daylight between the United States and Israel. But, I also think you have to look at the way that the general nature of anti-Semitism has spread across the country and across the world. And it seems like it's rising right now. People need to take a second and really think about things. And if it seems crazy and it seems outlandish and it seems outrageous, it probably is. Check another source. Get your information from a different person or a different news site. Just double check with things, because I think a lot of people love to buy into a conspiracy theory. They hear things about Israel. They've heard things about Israel because of some of these individuals who are perpetuating this nonsense out there, and they're buying into it. And I'll tell you what, this president is standing strong, and I think there are so many people out there who have Israel's back. We need to continue to. And I think that, it's such a shame. But again, let's look at the Democrat Party and let's look at the way these people have allowed this to spread as well.
No doubt. God, you need to be president, Lara. I'm telling you. I don't care what Eric says. I'm telling you, you have to do it. I will make sure. I'm telling you, I'll do whatever I have to do. You need to be president. You're so common sense. You're so smart. And you got a heart. Those things don't hurt either. Talking about anti-Semitism, here in New York, where you are right now, I know, we have anti-everything. This mayor, and I know I bring him up with you every week. I can't help it. You're a New Yorker. You lived in the city. This guy last week puts out his version of the immigrant enclave map, okay? He leaves out Little Italy. He leaves out Arthur Avenue in the Bronx. So he gave the big middle finger, Laura, to the Italians. He leaves out Borough Park and Williamsburg and very Jewish sections across the boroughs. He leaves out Germantown. He leaves out the Rockaways and other big Irish areas. He leaves out Astoria, which is populated by the Greeks. So while we talk almost every day about Mamdani's true hatred for the Jews, that's real. That's real. This guy hates everybody. That map last week was an embarrassment for the whole city, Lara Trump.
Yeah, and if you think that it wasn't on purpose, you're wrong. It was 100% on purpose. Look, these people, these politicians, have multiple individuals and layers that everything has to go through before anything gets released. The only one who doesn't is Donald Trump. We all know he just puts it out there. He doesn't even check with anybody. But he's just about it, Sid. The rest of them go through the checks. They have multiple people, multiple advisors. So this was all on purpose. And I think you have to go back to socialism and communism itself, because that's exactly who this guy is. He's a socialist. This is the new face of the Democrat Party. This is what they want for America. And their ideas are very anti-American. It is basically 180 degrees in the opposite direction of what our founders had in mind for this country. So they don't like that people have their traditions. They want everybody to just be lumped together and suffering together. You want to have more money because you work harder? Forget about it. You can't do that with socialism and communism. Let's spread it all out for everybody. Let's stifle anybody's ability to prop themselves, their family up, their culture up, maybe innovate in some way. This is what socialism does. So any New Yorker out there who took offense to what happened, and you ought to, it doesn't matter whether or not you fall in one of these categories, understand this is the goal, not just in New York City, but across the entire country for these democratic socialists. That's what they call themselves. I call them communists, because that is the end game here. They want to fundamentally transform America, and you do that by destroying it from within. You do that by not allowing people to celebrate themselves, their cultures, or do anything special for themselves, have anything of their own, no private property, none of that stuff. This is all part of the end game for these socialists. So everyone needs to pay attention. This is why you have to get out and you have to vote in these midterm elections like it's 2024, because it ultimately really matters. These people cannot take over our federal government, because that's the end of America.
End of America, that's right. Already New York is in big trouble. If there's anything left, Blakeman has to win. We know that. I saw something with you, Lara, on your Twitter page. Goes back to Israel, okay? So it turns out that there were two very serious assassination plots, again, with Donald J. Trump, our great president, your father-in-law. And Israel was the country that provided us with the intelligence to make sure that, God forbid, nothing happened to your father-in-law. But it's not just him. I understand, Lara, that all of you guys, I hate saying this, I do, because I love you, and obviously I want you to be safe, and it's got to be difficult living like that every day. But it's not just the president, it's all of you guys. Is it fair to say that the whole Trump family deals with a healthy fear every day that, God forbid, something bad can happen?
Well, yeah, and I think we've kind of all felt this way for a long time. You don't have the things that have happened to my father-in-law happen normally to people. This is very abnormal stuff. And so going back to, honestly, 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago in Butler, Pennsylvania, I think everything changed. And, I think for all of us, we kind of take a page from him. And I have to give my father-in-law so much credit, because to be arguably the most targeted man in the world, a person who has people trying to kill him on a minute-by-minute basis, let's be honest, he doesn't really think about it. And I know that sounds crazy, but just stay with me for a moment. I think his calculation on all of this has always been, look, I have great people around me. They're protecting me. And I do believe that now things are different. Things are much different than Butler. I could go into a whole host of problems in Butler, not the least of which is that the Secret Service asked for more support and they were denied it by Kimberly Cheadle and by the Biden administration. But I digress. If he focused solely on what was potential, what could happen to him, he'd never get anything accomplished. He knows the people around him are protecting him. And I think we all feel that way. We know these people are doing an incredible job. And I think if you focus on that, you get really nothing else done. And he knows he's got a limited, finite amount of time to really make great change for this country. Obviously, we got to focus, like I said, on these midterms, because that really will make the difference in his last 2 years in office. And I really don't think he dwells on it that much. And so for all of us, we always take our notes from him. It's a little bit like on an airplane. Whenever there's turbulence, you look at the flight attendant. If they're calm, the rest of the plane is calm. And that's how I think we all feel.
Oh, that's so smart. I like that. Yes, you look at the flight attendant. So I think Dallas is going to be some event come September, yes?
Dallas is going to be some event, and it's going to be, listen, we've never seen this before, but this is how important this stuff is. This is what I'm saying to everybody. The fact that we have an opportunity to have Donald Trump with 2 more years of getting things done, or we don't, or we have the opposite of that. We have the Democrats who are absolutely insane right now. I've never seen a group of crazier people, people who, of the 212 sitting House Democrats, 10 of them could sign a pledge to America saying, yeah, we believe in things like capitalism and common sense. 10! That is insane. I hope everybody understands this. So, yeah, we got to rally the troops. We got to get everybody focused. We got to win these midterm elections. And what better way than to have a midterm election, pre-game, I think is what we should call it.
Yeah, it is. No, it'll be great. Like the convention in Wisconsin a couple of years ago, talking about Butler, Pennsylvania. Your father-in-law arrived the day after. I was already there. The day after he got shot in Pennsylvania. Lara Trump, I love you. You're so great you're on your own show. 9 p.m. Saturday nights, The View on Fox News. Great show with Lara Trump.
View, not The View. Come on, Sid.
I did that
Holy smokes.
I did that on purpose. Could you imagine, honestly? Think of the difference between The View and My View.
I have an offer for ABC. Let me host The View with a group of women who actually get it and America wants to hear from for 1 week. Show me how the ratings go, and then we'll talk. That's all. I'm just throwing it out there.
Have they offered it to you yet or not yet? Has that offer been made?
They have not offered to me, but I hope somebody is listening from ABC News.
Oh, I would love to see that. My View, you're right, 9 p.m. on Saturday nights. The great Lara Trump. I love you. Thank you so much. We'll do it again next week. Thank you so much.
I can't wait, my friend. Thank you.
Me too. You're great. That's funny. She would be great. ABC instead of The View, Her View, My View, whatever it is. The View, the Lara Trump, and she would pick, I guess, 3 or 4 ladies. I wonder who she'd pick.
It's called Fox Network.
Yeah, you're right.
What she's talking about.
Well, that's what she's on.
Right.
Right. But she wants to put it on a regular network.
No, she hosts The View as it exists now.
On Fox.
And
Yeah.
just take them and...
But she wants to put it on a regular network, not Fox.
I'm saying take their show and combat them.
Oh, on Fox News?
Wherever.
Well, she said she wants to do it on ABC, Channel 7.
Not a bunch of Fox people.
No, I know.
Them with her.
What? Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar with Lara Trump and Sonny
isn't
hosting?
that crazy? That's nuts.
Yeah, that is crazy.
No, so she can legitimately dispel everything that they talk about.
Well, they ever had her as a guest.
Maybe even convert
that show. Oh my God!
They need somebody like that.
Oh my
I like that
100%.
idea. Yeah. Let me ask her. Let me text her.
Get Alyssa Farah, whatever her name is.
She cool.
She is cool.
Yeah.
But Lara would be a much stronger.
Yeah, agreed. We got her.
They're afraid of her.
Of course they are.
Oh, my God.
Of course they are. All right, we'll take a break. We got Bill O'Reilly and Clay Travis still to come.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I love Bill. Bill's the best ever. Was the best, still is the best, will always be the best. Whether it's every Thursday here with me, Mondays with Katz and Cosby, his morning message, we play every morning here about 7:30. His own amazing website, BillO'Reilly.com, with really great content. It's a great TV show. You got the common sense, you got the articles, too, and the interviews, and just terrific. He's a great writer. The Killing series, about 13 of those great books with a new one coming out this September. He's got that great book on the presidents, and obviously the evil book, too. That's a great one. Really is. He's got an amazing podcast. I've been watching it every week. It really is great. He's got great guests, a lot of different type of people. We'll do it live. And the only complaint I have about Bill O'Reilly is, and he may get upset with this, but I'm sorry. He's too smart. He's too good. And he's just too well respected to go on with Chris Cuomo every week. I watch those videos, and I know he's going to yell at me and tell me, no, he's not stupid. He's stupid. Chris Cuomo's not a smart guy. He's not. And I get aggravated sometimes watching Bill because I look up to Bill. I think Bill's a genius and the best ever. And I think Cuomo's a moron. Other than that, Bill, I think you're doing really, really well.
Okay, report card's like a B+. Harry Chapin died on the Long Island Expressway.
Yeah, I got it right.
And he was involved in an accident where he had a very small car. The expressway, even now, is insane when you drive on it. And the exit was close to the Mineola exit. And now he has the lake in Eisenhower Park named after him. And,
oh, wow.
They do concerts out there. Blakeman does a nice job on that big piece of land, Eisenhower Park. And there's all kinds of stuff all summer. So Chapin, very talented guy, more of a folk singer than a rock singer.
Right.
Message kind of guy. That never bothered me too much. But he was a unique Long Islander, that's for sure.
So, Bill, the talk today is this interview that Joe Rogan, who I think is overrated, but he makes a lot of money and he's got a lot of listeners. So I got to give him the respect he deserves, but I watch him. I just don't get it. Either way, he had the vice president on yesterday for 3 hours. J.D. Vance was there for 3 hours. I played a couple of clips this morning, particularly where he talks about Israel and Jeffrey Epstein. It was with the Mossad and the CIA. I gather you saw it. Any opinion on J.D. Vance yesterday?
Well, look, Vance has a different point of view than Trump, and people should understand that that's a healthy thing because you don't want just lockstep. But for me, when I watch the vice president, I'm not seeing a lot of frame of reference. What does that mean? So when you're going to talk about a very serious thing with the American people, you have to bring them some kind of stuff or wisdom they don't know. You can't do the social media. You can't do the pundits or the propaganda. And I think that the vice president lives in the world of social media. And that, to me, is, if he's going to run for president, going to hurt him. Whereas Rubio, his main rival, is much more worldly. He's much more in tune with problem solving than Vance is. Vance is more of a theoretician. So the Rogan thing, I'm with you. I could never get on the program. I don't care to do 3 hours, even with you. I'll fall asleep. I'm sorry. I'm taking a nap. All right.
Right.
So within an hour and a half, 2 hours, I'm out. I'm asleep, and I don't know what you use. But to sit there for 3 hours, I'm sorry. And Rogan doesn't like me anyway. I don't know why. Maybe because I don't have a tattoo. I don't know. I'll get a tattoo. It's one of those temporary ones the kids get where you peel off. Because Rogan sells some books, so you don't.
He does.
It's worth going on there, but not for 3 hours, in my opinion. So I didn't learn anything much from. I didn't see the whole interview, but the clips of Rogan Vance. Did you learn anything?
No, I've heard the Jeffrey Epstein, Mossad, CIA thing from various people and podcasters forever. And, the fact that there's Israeli money out there that's going against Vance and trying to embarrass him every day and trying to kill the Iran deal. I've heard all these things, mostly from people who I deem anti-Semitic podcasters. So nothing shocked me yesterday. And for him to say that, people think I'm run by Tucker Carlson, like Trump is run by Bibi, you bet your ass I think that. And you just said it. J.D. Vance lives in the social media / podcaster world, and you cannot do that if you're the vice president of the United States.
We asked him 2 weeks ago to come on with me on an interview thing, and they were rude to us. His people were rude to us.
Really?
Yeah, and now I had him on, I don't know, 6 months ago, and the interview was good because I pinned him down. If you're going to say stuff to me, you got to be able to back it up. You know that. I don't believe, and O'Reilly and Rosenberg depart here, I don't believe that Tucker Carlson runs J.D. Vance. I don't. I don't think he has access. I don't think they talk a lot. But Vance is aware of that movement. He's aware of it. And I'm not going to say that Vance does anything in his presentation to pander to it, but he certainly hasn't criticized it. So to me, as a journalist, when I hear these things about Israel or whatever it may be, I'm going to challenge that. I'm going to say, how do you know that? Or what are you bringing to the table that we don't know? And then usually you get silence, and that's why a lot of politicians from both parties will not come on with me. Because they know I'm not going to just let them say what they want to say. They're going to have to back it up.
100%, which every interviewer should do, but that's why you're the best ever. You know, you mentioned Israel. Bibi was on this show Monday. He was terrific. And he called in. I didn't book him because his people contacted me and said he wants to say nice things about Lindsey Graham, like most people do, you know. I mean, there's a lot of folks out there, too, that hate him. He's a warmonger, and he loves Israel, and he loves Ukraine. Bill O'Reilly, how did you feel about Lindsey Graham?
I did a last extensive interview with him on We'll Do It Live. It's up on BillO'Reilly.com, 45 minutes. And that was the beginning of the Iranian conflict.
So just a couple of months ago.
Yeah, the last one. He did a couple of pops with people, but they were short. This one was 45 minutes. And I grilled him, as I do with everybody, about motive, intent, determination. And from the very beginning, my posture was that this is the right thing to do for the world by trying to disarm a terrorist state, Iran. It's the right thing to do. However, it is Donald Trump's biggest gamble in his whole life, because you're dealing with a subset of power that answers to no one, and who, that government, they are basically lunatics. They believe that Rosenberg and O'Reilly don't have the right to live because we're not Wahhabist Muslim.
That's true. Yeah.
That's what they believe.
Not easy, yes.
We don't have the right to live, not go to the deli. We should be in the ground because we don't think Allah is whispering in our ear every night, kill every non-Muslim you can.
Kill the infidels.
Right. The infidels is the word they use. So how insane is that? And then when you get up to a level where you can develop a weapon that can literally wipe out 500,000 people, and you sit there and do nothing, as the Biden administration did, okay, that gets problematic. But to solve the problem is very, very difficult. You have to go to Hiroshima, Nagasaki, Dresden. You have to go into these precincts where the United States and its allies killed millions of civilians.
And by the way, you don't have to kill millions here, but, and you're the history guy, not me, did those bombings and killings in Germany and Japan not lead, thank God, eventually to the end of World War II?
Yes, it was the greater good that America, because we drove everything, okay, it was the greater good that was accomplished. Because we gave, how many times did we give Hitler and Tojo opportunities to surrender? And it's the same thing with the mullahs. How many times did we give them? How many deals did Trump say he had?
Too many.
Right, and they will not stop. So the right thing to do is to make them stop. But it's not that easy. And President Trump, and I know this because I've spoken to him directly about it, all right, doesn't want to kill 50,000 Persians.
Which is honorable, and he really does feel that way because he's a good man. But yes, you can't. But
it's
like,
not phony.
No,
it's not.
No, that's him.
He doesn't want to kill 50,000 Persians,
right,
including schoolgirls, and which is what it would take to break the country.
Oh, that's it.
When
then
we broke Japan
and Germany.
Germany.
That's it, though. You don't start a book not to finish. You don't start a job not to finish. You start the game ends. So he started this, which is great. We both agree he had to do it. But because you're a nice guy, you can't not finish it. There needs to be a finish. And the only finish there is to do damage.
Look, that's all true, but we don't know because we don't have classified information. All right, and these people go on television and radio and say they know what's happening over there. That's ridiculous. There isn't one reporter. You can't. If you're a reporter telling the world what's happening in Iran, you got a bullet in your head within 5 hours. So there isn't any reportage out of there. We don't know. But you would assume that the Pentagon has a plan to bring Iran down. And that plan will probably just be, we're going to have to waste all of your resources, destroy, and you're going to have trouble getting food in there. And that's not our fault. That's your government's fault. So you can do what you want to do, but I think that's where Trump is going with this. He's going to break the infrastructure of the country so they can't even get food in.
Aye.
That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
But I don't get a daily briefing. I should.
Yeah, you should.
Okay. You can take Vance's and just give it to me.
I would love that. I would vote for that right now. I really would. I want Bill O'Reilly to be the vice president of the United States moving forward. How about that? That's my guy.
So I can't take that job. It'd have to be the top job because I'm not a good order taker.
That's true.
Never have
right.
been.
That's true. You're right. But then again, only Trump will give you orders, and you can figure out a way around that. But you'd be the much better guy for that position than he would be. I mean, let's be honest. Because I just want to see this thing come to an end.
Oh yeah,
one way or the other.
Does.
I mean, it's just a mess. It's a mess.
I think the Persians do too.
Of course.
It's just they don't have the courage to overthrow their government.
No, don't say they don't have the courage. They don't have the guns, okay?
No, they don't have the courage.
They don't have the guns. You walk in the street, you get shot down, 50,000 they killed. You want to see courage? Let the Americans, let us go there and arm these people. Then we'll see courage.
Well, you can't arm them.
Okay, so you expect people to walk in the street just to get shot?
Here's what I expect, the American Revolution. Okay? So if you study the American Revolution, and, 250 is this year, the colonists didn't have the guns. We didn't have any gun manufacturing plants here, all right? But we said, we're throwing this king out, and we're willing to give up our lives to do it, and we're going to use every measure to get these Brits back on their own island and get out of here, and that's going to cost us hundreds of thousands of lives, and that's exactly what happened. So we had the courage to fight for our freedom. We stated what our freedoms were in the Declaration of Independence.
True.
And then we had the courage to fight for that against the most powerful military in the world, the British.
Yep.
And we won. And so you can't tell me that 90 million Persians going on a work stoppage, not showing up, not cooperating in a passive way, can't damage that government. They can. They don't have the guts to do it. All right? And that's the truth. You can overthrow tyrannical regimes. I wrote about this in Confronting Evil. You mentioned it in the lead. Because the exact same thing happened with the Shah of Iran. The people rose up against him. But
let me ask you this. You're right.
Can drop weapons into the desert.
No.
And people are going to run and get them.
It's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
But I would ask you, as a history guy talking about the Shah, that was 1979, okay? So you're talking about 47 years ago, okay, when this thing started. Are you telling me the Iranians are the same? Because I'm going to posit to you that they're more ruthless, more murderous, and more brutal now than 47 years ago.
If they make the Shah, the mullahs make the Shah look like Pee Wee Herman.
Right.
Okay, so
these people have no chance
for the people of Iran to go on a track that makes it impossible for the Revolutionary Guard to govern.
Okay. I like the idea.
If nobody does anything, all right, they stay in their homes, they eat their whatever they have left, because you're not going to have it for long, okay, then the whole structure starts to wobble.
True.
Okay, you don't have to do it militarily. You can do it by passive means if you understand what happened. I mean, the Shah was gunning down people like crazy, trying to keep his power base there. But they were so fed up with him that they were willing, at that point in history, the Persians, to take the chance to get him out. And they did. But they put in somebody worse.
Right.
And that's where we are.
That's where you are. Final 60 seconds. That was a great walk, history lesson right there, Bill. Like, no one could do nobody better than you. Nobody. Final 60 seconds. Have you been able to convince Chris Cuomo that Mamdani is, in fact, a communist?
No, not yet. But he knows. Look.
Come on, Bill.
Look, we differ because I know you both.
Yeah.
And you're interesting guys. Let's put it that way. But Cuomo, what he's doing is playing to a group.
Yeah.
You don't play to a group.
No.
Okay? So Sid and Friends is wide open for him. You know, you got to have a conservative bent somewhat.
Right.
But that's not what you're selling.
No.
All right?
No.
But Cuomo, because of his position on News Nation, is selling a liberal view of the country. There's nothing wrong with that. My job is to go in and challenge that liberal view.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Whether it was CNN or even now at News Nation, where he does have the best ratings there, but that's like saying you won a beauty contest in a leper colony. How is it he doesn't get ratings? So this liberal stance of his, and you're right, he does do it, because Katie Pavlich comes on 2 hours later, and you two guys are great together this week too. She's not liberal. So there's nothing in the News Nation doctrine like CNN that says you have to be liberal. It's not like he's getting big ratings. Why is he doing it?
Because that's his comfort zone.
Got it. Yep. You're right. Yeah.
You know, I knew Mario Cuomo. Okay? I didn't know him well, but I covered him and I knew him. And I can see the passage down to both Andrew and Chris of Mario Cuomo's point of view.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it was a far different time in America. It was much more détente. There was much more reasonableness. There wasn't a pressure to speak to the choir so much as there is now. But I can see it. I can see almost everything. So when I get on there and I go to Cuomo, which is absolutely 100% true, that Mamdani is a communist because he's trying to control the means of production in New York City, all right? And then Cuomo said he isn't a communist. I'm just looking at him like, do you not understand? And that makes a good segment.
Yeah, of course. No, it's great.
That's a good television.
It is
segment.
good. Yes, I agree.
Okay?
I watch it.
So my job is to be a provocative guy, but to bring in the fact that we have a mayor of the largest city in the country who wants to run everybody's life right down to what kind of shoes you wear.
It's true. That's
okay?
Yeah.
And if that's okay with you, all right, fine. It's not illegal, but certainly the man is a communist. He is a communist.
I mean,
and that's it.
That's it, to the definition. I mean, he'd be in the dictionary. I mean, right? I mean,
he's after the housing. He's got the housing. He's after the food. I think Casamati's going to have him mugged. He's after the food. He's after the transportation.
All of it.
He's got cameras on every corner, every blanking corner of that city. You got a camera.
Yeah.
And if you spit on the sidewalk, you get a $100 ticket. What do you think that is? That's what they do in Beijing.
Which you know,
it's
because
exactly the same.
You were there not that long ago in Beijing, actually, and I believe you did.
I saw it.
You saw it. You spit on the street. You got a ticket.
a line in Beijing. You do anything the government doesn't like, you're charged with crimes against the people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's everything. The Mets would all be incarcerated.
Well, guess what? It wouldn't bother me. I got to be honest, except for a couple of Mets.
We're rooting for a comeback.
I don't know. I saw Soto at the All-Star game talking about this comeback, but we'll see. It all starts tonight. The Mets are the only team with the Phillies, the only game, I should say, in baseball tonight. Mets and Phillies. The rest of baseball, including the Yankees, returns tomorrow. Bill, you are so magnificent and so great. I love you so much. Thank you. What a great segment. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Sid.
Come on. Thank you. What an honor. What a great segment right there. Bill O'Reilly, folks, every Thursday. That is as good radio as you'll ever hear. The great Bill O'Reilly.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Summer White House, which is President Trump's Bedminster estate. Now we got a big dinner going on. Going to celebrate America 250. They've done it in Washington, D.C. I guess they've done it here. I was in Israel. I don't know. But this Sunday, Saturday, I should say, at Bedminster, we're going to go see President Trump and have a hoot and old time. You ever go there, Alec?
To Bedminster?
Yeah.
No, I've never been. It's a private club.
Oh, you can get invited.
I've never been invited. Yeah.
Why do you think that's the case?
Well, I'm pretty low on the old totem pole in terms of getting into Bedminster.
Does that bother you, or
no? Not really. No. Yeah. I will probably spend the rest of my life playing on municipal golf courses.
Why do you say that?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
are you okay with that? Is that you don't have any aspirations to play at?
Well, I mean, country clubs are ridiculous. They're a waste of money.
What if you get in for free like I do?
Well, then I'll go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Way to further the Jewish stereotype.
I mean, come on. You know,
yeah.
Anything free in life is worth doing.
Yeah. Noam, you going Saturday?
No, I was not invited. No.
Why not?
Because I'm not friends with the president like you are.
Oh, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Yeah.
You know the answer. Why not? So you can toot your own horn and be like,
I
got invited.
No, see, this is where you get silly. I mean, I'm not even sure I'm invited because I'm the president's friend.
Right.
He didn't invite me.
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Louie invited me.
Oh, okay.
Uncle Louie Gregory.
Right.
You know what that is, Noam?
I don't.
What is Lou is such a trouble. You hear that evil laugh in the background?
Yeah, I do.
He's made me
evil.
Laugh. He made me laugh.
Well, he doesn't know these people. It's fine.
Well, are you going to tell me who he is?
People don't exist.
I'm not the only person who doesn't know who he is.
Yeah, well,
these
that's
people don't
fine.
exist.
You don't know these people, neither does most of our listening audience, because
you could have made up any name like you do every day.
I could have done that, sure, yeah. but I didn't do that. I gave you a real name. My phone got a text from him.
Jimmy Psycho Harris
Yeah.
invited. You don't know him, but I
could have done that. Right.
He runs this clothing store in Bensonhurst, and then he gives me this free stuff. And
I got to try my tuxedo on today because I haven't worn it in I guess the last time I wore it was when Trump was inaugurated on that freezing cold night in Washington, D.C. Were you there, Noam?
I was not.
Why not?
Because I was not invited.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? I don't know.
Song
Didn't make the list.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
No one plays a game. It's so nice.
You're playing so good. You're playing along.
But who else? What was the guy's name? He was probably invited.
Uncle Louie Gregory?
Yes.
Uncle Louie Gregory.
Shut up. You wish you knew Uncle Louie Gregory.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Sounds like a character in a Truman Capote novel.
It's not. It's he's a great guy.
Then I'd have a clue.
And you're laughing about it, but if you did know him, you'd be renting a tux today, like a lot of other people would be doing.
Well, I actually own one, so I wouldn't.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if you own a tux.
Yeah, Noam's a grown man. He doesn't have to rent his tuxedo.
On a serious note, what is out there that happens, something that I may go to, or others, what about me, that you really would love to go to one day, Noam, that you haven't gone to yet?
I'd have to think about that.
Like I've been to the State of the Union. I was physically removed, but I was there.
Yeah, I care less about that.
Inauguration,
right.
Super Bowl. You've done that already, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that there's a lot on that list of things I haven't
really
done.
So if you, God forbid, died today, there's nothing on your
I'd be
bucket
okay,
list.
yeah.
You'd be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Really?
Okay.
I mean, there's some places I'd like to see, like I'd like to travel more.
Like where?
I'd like to go to China. I'd like to go to the Far East. I've never done that.
China?
Mm-hmm.
What?
China, Japan, Thailand, all those places. Vietnam.
But why is that?
I'm very curious about those places. I've never seen them. Want to go?
Okay. I have no desire to go to China.
Me neither.
Danielle's been to Tokyo. She loved it.
Yeah, I'd
loved
rather
it.
go to Japan.
Thailand would be good for Justin because they have free brothels. Kid like him, it's got to be a good time.
ladyboys.
I don't know this,
boys.
but I've been told if you buy a girl a shirt for $20, you get it for the week.
Yeah, but you don't know how much of a girl she is, or he, or they.
In Thailand?
Yeah.
Oh, it's all ladyboys.
It's all ladyboys.
No, that's not true.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's huge there.
I didn't even know that. Trans community is big in Thailand?
It is.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Well, how do you know? Oh, you looked it up, Justin.
Where to find ladyboys.
Yeah. What about you, Josh? What would you like to do that you haven't done?
I would love to go to a Super Bowl one day. But the
You
Eagles,
never got to any-
No, the Eagles would have to be playing in it, though.
Right, but they played in 3.
I know.
Man, wait a second. 3 or 4?
No, they played in
Jaworski lost. McNabb lost.
Yes.
Foles won.
Yes.
And Hurts been to 2.
Yeah.
So 5 Super Bowls.
They played in 5, yes.
And you never went to any of them?
No.
Well, you got to blame your father for that.
Well,
what
listen,
a crappy
I was-
father that is. A terrible father.
No,
terrible,
it's not
terrible.
terrible.
Not a terrible father.
Well, he actually
My
went.
dad drove me all the way to Tampa to see the Giants play the Bills. Drove me.
Yeah. He went, actually, the year.
He went without you?
Yes, he went without you.
Oh,
Yeah.
even worse.
He got invited by his buddy. They went and watched the Chiefs beat up on the Eagles in the first one.
So that's your dream, to go to a Super Bowl?
Yeah, but I would hate to go and watch Eagles lose in the Super Bowl. My God, that would be.
Well, you don't know. But you don't know.
That would be crazy.
Well, you don't know that when you get there.
I know. I don't know that when I get there. That's the risk I'd have to take.
Sure.
All right.
So you have already done everything you want to do, Noam. And Alec wants to see the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Right. Okay.
I'd
What
like
about
to-
Lou?
What a sad bunch of
That'd be cool.
swear, you want to know that? I'm afraid to ask Lou, I swear to God. Louis, what is out there that you haven't done yet?
I'm doing it right now. This is the greatest thing ever in the world.
That doesn't get any better.
How can you guys imagine something greater than being in Manhattan right here, looking at you, watching everything and hearing about your whole life and about 2 million names that nobody in the world.
It's one name. It's Uncle Louis Gregory.
Uncle
What is
Louis
the
Gregory, right.
No, this is this is the pinnacle of life right here. Amazing. Why would I want to go to a couple of other beautiful countries?
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?